All right. Welcome everybody. This is I believe it's August 4th, 2025. I figure we got to start putting the dates down so we have this recorded in is the word posterity? I think that's the right word. This is going to be like the captain's log, year 2025, in the middle of chaos. There remains a lone broadcaster. All right, welcome to Solar Guidance. This is the episode that we've been waiting for. So, you know what I like to do. So let's start this off with a little tune. Let's see if we get some cooperation here. Hey, yeah. All right. Yeah. Welcome back to Solar Guidance. Like I said, this is the episode that many people have been waiting for. I'll be very honest. This is an episode this is like 4 years in the making. This is the episode where I'm going to be telling my story. Well, I'm going to do the best to convey a story that like can't really fully be put in words to make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'll share what I can to make it make sense. In a way for one, you to get to know me. Two, perhaps some other people will gain something from me sharing my story. But this is what I understand, right? My story is not mine to keep to myself. So I'm doing what I know I must do. And let this be the first step into giving others the comfort and the courage to do the same. See, I tell people all the time, like, my story is mine, man. You know, no one could hold my story against me. Like, no, fuck no, man. Oh, sorry, Mom. No, man, my story is mine, man. Like, understand that your story is yours. Don't let anybody take power over your story. You are the writer in this story. And no matter what happens or what you do, you just own it. And so I stand on my story. This is a story I'm going to call, I think it's, I had a title written down, Becoming the Proof. It's a recovery story of divine guidance and protection. So here's the thing, I'm very transparent too. We still got some technical issues right now. I know the beat is still playing for you, but I can't hear it. So I'm going to just ride on it right now. And just say, welcome back to Solar Guidance. This is another one. And like I said, it's 4 years in the making. So here's the thing. No matter how I tell the story, it takes time in order to give it justice. In order to I don't know, to give it justice, man. Some stories take time to tell. And to shortchange it would just be an injustice to all. But I'm going to tell the story, and let's see if we could do it in the first episode, or in one episode. The first time I did this, it got to 2 hours and 40 minutes. I was talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I didn't even get to the halfway point. So we're going to do something this time around. And let's rip this down for you. All right. So here it is, right? The problem was, I'm not gonna say the problem. Like, the reason it was so long is because I was sharing too much. So it was kind of necessary though. But I found a way to do it in a shorter time. So I'm gonna share a little bit about my childhood, but it's just 2 points I'm gonna make. I'm gonna breeze through things. There's no way I could share everything, right? But understand this too. The other reason I'm doing this is so that the world can know who I am. Like, for the point and purpose of credit, I talk the talk and I walk the walk, right? So not only that, I'm divinely guided and protected. And again, like I said, I know that my story is just not mine to keep to myself, because when I share it with people, most people thank me. And I don't share it to be thanked. but they thank me. And I think in my reflections on why a person might thank me for telling my story is, I think my honesty. They just thank me for being honest. And there's people that can relate when I'm telling the story. So I know for that too. But I think a lot of times it's because we hide these things. And make no mistake, like I said, it's taken me 4 years in the making to really tell this. And it was a process, so I'm going to do my best to tell a story, try to convey certain things. We're going to be revisiting this thing because it's an epic kind of a story. So first I got to start with the childhood. Let me not belabor the point. Let's start with the childhood. Let's get I want some backdrop to this. So the other thing too, I got visuals for you guys. So I'm a one man show. I don't got a Jamie yet. One day I'll have a Jamie. Shout out to Jamie. If y'all don't know who Jamie is, I don't know where you been. Jamie's the guy. All right, let's get another backdrop. And for this one, I'll try to find something like kind of melodic that ain't too much in the background. You know what I mean? No, I gotta hear it. Okay. Yeah, we playing. Okay. Yeah, so childhood. Let me relax this. I gotta get comfortable. This is my show, damn it. Let me get comfortable while I tell you the story. All right, so I remember being in first grade. It was first grade or second grade, and I was in class, and I just remember having this internal conversation with myself. Well, at least I believe it was myself. But I had this internal conversation, and I describe it as an internal conversation because that's what it was. And I remember it clearly. I was in about first grade, second grade. That's about like 6 years old, right? And the conversation was this: you're gonna be a teacher. You're gonna be a teacher. Yeah, you're gonna be like that. Like, yeah, that's because the teacher I had at the time, they were just talking to us as like kids, right? But like showing us respect and whatnot, and just they were telling us about like they just didn't come across as a teacher. Like I just remember, I don't remember the details, but I remember them just sharing something personal about their life. And I remember this. It was the first grade, same teacher. She said this. She told us, and this was a Catholic school to put things in context. Catholic school in the hood. But she was like, she told us in first grade, she was like, if you ever get visited by our presence and you're not, and I don't know why we were having this conversation, but we were talking about it. And this is not the usual for a Catholic school classroom. Understand that. She was like, if you ever get confronted in the with something, she was like, you say to get back. If you are, no, she said this: if you come in peace, then stay. But if you come to do me harm, then leave in the name of Jesus Christ, or something like that. She said that, and I'm telling you, in first grade, I remember that because for whatever reason, I was just asking questions at an early age. What I'm trying to get to you is that, like, I was asking questions at an early age. Not only that, I had this thing in me. I just wanted to be a teacher. I just imagined myself being in a classroom and not only teaching kids math and all that other jazz and all that, but just being able to talk to them about life. And that stayed with me throughout my whole entire life, right? And not only that, in elementary school, I just knew I was going to be a teacher. But I also just, certain things amazed me. Like learning about the golden rule. We're in kindergarten. They said, treat other people like you want to be treated. Like, that just stuck with me. I don't know how everybody else took it, but when I say it stuck with me, it was just like ping, like ping. You know those certain gems that you have? Look, of all the conversations that we have in life, think about it. There are certain conversations that you remember. Out of thousands, millions for some of us, of conversations. All the words that come out your mouth hole and all the words that you listen to someone spill out, you remember certain conversations. And I say, and come to learn, that those are the conversations that's meant for you to learn. Sometimes to go back to and to dig a little deeper, to understand a little deeper, to gain some more insight from, not to get stuck in the emotions of whatever the conversation may have been, but those conversations tend to be the conversations that stand out for a reason. And in my experience, those are the same things that will come back to you in different moments of your life. So now imagine if you go through life and you're not really listening to what people are saying, but all along you were being fed gems. All along you were being given keys that you may not have seen at that moment, but that would and will come into play later on down the line. Now, if you were a person that was dismissive of people, then hey, you might be missing some keys that are coming up to you. Meaning, certain situations that are presenting themselves to you now, you were given the answer back then. But it was in a different context and it didn't make sense then. But if you remember the conversation, it will come to mind. And I know I didn't always listen to all the conversations and all the things that I was told. So I know at some point I've missed quite a bit. But there's other things as well, that the communication is always there. This thing, man, I'm going to touch on it from time to time because it's a part of everything. This thing we call God. When I say a thing, I mean out of respect. It cannot be defined, and I kind of feel some way using the word God, but I use the word God because it's what most of us can kind of relate to in different contexts. But I mean, when I say God, I'm talking about beyond shape and form. I'm talking about beyond your conception. I'm talking about beyond anything you can even imagine. That God, the God that has no form, that has no shape, the God that has taken form and shape throughout time to speak to different people in different locations, man. That's what I'm talking about. So, this is going to be the delivery. You see, I haven't drifted off, but again, this whole process is you getting to know who I am and you starting to understand how I express myself. This episode is going to be a little more laid back than perhaps some of the other ones you've seen. Okay, so I've always asked questions, like when I was young, golden rule, things like that kind of stood out to me, man. And it would come back into play later on. The placebo effect. I remember reading about the placebo effect in elementary school, and they told us, you guys remember, man, it was in science class, right? They had it was like a little section, a unit. It was a chapter in a unit. And they were telling you how they did some experiment and they gave people a placebo. The placebo is the pill that's really like a sugar pill. Or this might even just be nothing. It's just a pill you take. It's nothing, man. But they'll tell you it's a Motrin. Can I say that? I might get... We don't even pull for pharmaceuticals. I got an issue with pharmaceuticals, man. No free advertisement for pharmaceuticals, man. So they'll tell you it's a pill for the headache, okay? They'll tell you it's a pill for the headache, and really it's just a sugar pill. It's nothing. But because you believe it's a pill for the headache, your headache starts to go away. Because you've made your body believe that the substance taken will have an effect to cure you of your illness. That stood out to me. It still does. And it still should. Because you understand what that means, right? That would connect science to spirituality for some of you. I see the connections without any need to point out the particular instances. But the particular instance In Christianity, in the Bible, Jesus said, when you pray, believe that you have received what it is you asked for, and you shall have it. Believe that you have received what it is you asked for, and you shall have it. So if you ask for a headache pill and you believe you got a headache pill, man, you shall have a headache pill, man. No matter if it's just sugar, man, believe. Yeah, believe. The power is in belief. Okay. So anyway, those kinds of things stood out to me, right? So on one note, there was that. Okay, now this part of the story, let me tell you about that other experience I've had throughout childhood. That, like, what I've just shared with you is not enough to kind of really express things, but just understand something, right? And I'm going to go somewhere with all of this. But I'm going to show you the two sides first, and then we'll go to, like, my processing of all of these things. Okay. So I was just different. I asked questions. I really did. I was a truth seeker because I just, whatever, like everything that I was being told, I just felt like there was more to the story, especially when I got to high school. In high school, I had a mentor. I must give acknowledgement to him. We'll just use his last name. His name is Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Whitaker is still alive. Mr. Whitaker has been a mentor for, I don't want to age him because he's a young guy in the spectrum of life. But I know, I mean, I've met him in high school. I graduated high school in 99. There were hundreds of kids in the high school that he has touched. And he has taught every day, well, every school year since, respectively. So he has, respectively, touched spiritually, mentally, not even, like, he wasn't even a spiritual guy or nothing like that, but spiritually in the sense that he was a man being himself, a guide, a mentor, someone who took the responsibility of being a mentor to younger men. I gotta be careful how I say he touched people. I'm over here talking about Mr. Whitaker touching people. Mr. Whitaker did not touch anybody, okay? I was talking about in a figurative sense. We gotta make sure we specify. I don't want Mr. Whitaker. Sorry, man. You guys understood what I meant. But this is what he showed, right? Nothing inappropriate. All within the guidelines of curriculum, through literature, through history. He, I was going to say exposed us. What's wrong with the English language? He exposed us to some truth. I learned about counterintelligence program. I learned about political prisoners. I learned about American history. Both sides, man, but it taught me enough to question leadership. It wasn't his indoctrination. He didn't do anything like that. We studied everything and had intellectual conversations about the material. The material is published out there, Barnes and Nobles and all that. But he gave us things to think about, facts and details. And that was mind-opening for me because that was the first time I was like, okay. And then I started researching on my own, and I found Behold the Pale White Horse, New World Order type. This was back in high school. I'm talking about 95, man. That was kind of like a natural progress of where I was since a child, asking questions. Because I just failed to believe that I was born to go to school and get a good education and from the education get a good job and get married, have children, get a house, have white picket fence, eventually one day have grandchildren and just die. This is what I was being presented with by the world and my parents. Not negatively. Your parents are supposed to teach you how to live in the world. This is what they showed me. My parents also taught me religion. We weren't like a Holy Moses family, but we went to church every Sunday. I went to Catholic school all my life. Catholicism, despite how some of you feel about it, is Christian religion. Again, I've made the point before, if it wasn't for Catholicism and also geographically where you were born, you probably wouldn't be a Christian, but that's besides the point. But I have religion. I understood that there's more to life, like there's heaven and hell, but they teach you heaven and hell is after. So anything dealing with spirituality and like connection with God is after, man. It's when you die. It's when you die, you're going to be reconnected with God. You'll see God. You'll talk with God. You'll experience God when you die. So go about and live your life, man. Go and get your education. Go find your beautiful wife, man. Go have your kids. This is what I'm being taught. Get your nice cars, man. Get your rims. Make your money. Get that bag. But there gotta be more to life than this shit, man. Because after you get that, then what? Right? After you get that, then what? That's it. You just get more of it. That's it. Just more and more of it. There gotta be more to life. Because here's the thing, right? Much of the thoughts I had as a young man, I told you, I knew I wanted to be a teacher since I was 6 years old. Fast forward, I became a teacher. I became a teacher when I was 21, when I graduated from college. I'll tell you that story. We'll get there. But I became a teacher, right? Let's take a second to show you some pictures, man. Let's hope this works. Okay, 1 second. Okay, man. Let's see if this works. Oh, okay. Yo. Is that? Yeah, I blurred the face out. You can't see the kid's face. That was me. That was one of my classrooms. That was one of my. I can't remember what grade that was. That was one of them, right? That was another year. I taught, man. I was actually a teacher. I gotta tell people this because they don't believe me. Like when I used to tell people I was a teacher, and at one point I used to have dreadlocks too, right? There's another class. I used to teach in African robes. I taught in a charter school in Newark, New Jersey. I said Newark, not Newark. It's Newark. Newark, New Jersey. I taught in charter school. Some of my students maybe they'll see this. Hopefully they'll see it. They'll shout me out in the comments. That's another class. See if I can zoom in for y'all. Okay, wait a minute. You can't see their faces, they all blurred. You can see me. I was a Rasta at one point too. I was a Rastafarian teaching the children. Yeah, that was me. And dude right next to me too, I know he know who he is. I hope he reach out to me if he see this or his mom or something like that. Initials AD. I'll say initials AD. He was like one of my young mentorees, bro. He really looked up to me. All my students kind of looked up to me. I was different. As you can imagine, you had a Rastafarian as a teacher. I was a legit teacher, though. Trust me, I was teaching them. I did a good job. All right. That was me teaching, too. I used to keep my hair wrapped up. I had locks. I had dreadlocks that used to fall below my waist. Yeah, so that was those some images of teaching days. So I became a teacher. I did that. All right, so going back, like you understand that aspect. I was just really different, and I'm gonna come back to that and explain why that means something. Um, yeah, I'm figuring out how to tell the story as I go because I've tried different ways, and I want to do it some justice, but I want to do it some justice and some good time, like, and not just be too long with it. All right, so let's drop. We're gonna enter this next segment. So I'm gonna tell you this. We still talking about childhood, but I gotta tell you about different moments that happened in my life, and they're kind of like graphic. I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm being very honest. They're I used to say I shouldn't be alive right now, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say that I've encountered death in different ways throughout my life, throughout my life. Throughout my life, I've faced near death. Um, I've experienced it many times, and before I get started, I'll tell you this. This is what I learned, right? My experience. When you first have this moment where you realize, like, oh shit, I'm about to fucking die. Sorry, mom. I'm about to fucking die. You have a moment. If, like, I don't even know if I panicked the first time. I'm sure maybe I did. 'Cause you're facing death, right? I was young too. Well, your life flashes in front of your eyes. It really does, and things do slow down, like that Matrix type level. It really does. Things slow down, and your life flashes in front of your eyes. It happened for me. I've heard from many other people, so I know it's a common experience. Spirituality and experiences and things unseen are often subjective, meaning it depends on the person, right? But this is something that other people share as well. Their life flashing in front of them. When I see my life, I'm talking about images. All types of images of my mother, my father, like me telling them I was in an accident. Like, it happens so fast, but it happens in front of you visually. It's not like my eyes didn't close. It's almost like I was looking at the accident. For me, the first time was really a car accident, bad car accident. I'm looking at it happen. Everything's in slow motion, and my life starts flashing in front of my eyes. And it's smack. It happens. And I walked away. It's happened a number of times, and over time, I stopped panicking. I don't panic anymore. And what I've learned is that when faced with death, and you really don't panic, you just breathe. Things slow down, and without the panic, you're actually able to maneuver in a manner which is, how can I describe it? Beyond logic. You happen to move and do things in a way that's almost beyond imagination. But really, it is imagination. And imagination is something we're going to have to speak about because we have been misled to believe this imagination is for children. And imagination is just childishness, man. Grow up. We've been fooled, man. Imagination is a power. Imagination is a gift from this thing you call God. Divine intelligence, supreme consciousness, man, the Most High, that which has no name, that which we all strive, right, to align ourselves with. Yeah, man. So check. I've experienced those things, and I just learned that when you just don't panic, you start to, you see things differently, and you're able to move in a kind of a way. But let me share things with you, right? And I say that to say some people may have lost some. And if I'm talking about death, I just want to be sensitive to those people that are listening. If death is a sensitive topic for you, then I'm giving you a heads up. But if death is a sensitive topic for you, I'm also challenging you to stay, man, to have a deeper understanding of death. It's another topic we'll talk about. I have stories. I have stories, man. All right, let's get a backdrop for this. And let me close. I don't want too much to disturb me here. Let's get a backdrop for this. I had something else lined up. I picked these ahead of time, and this episode was actually I was supposed to record this like 3 weeks ago, so I don't know if I'm still gonna be feeling the same vibe when I play it. So if I'm not, we're just gonna stop. If you're listening, hey man, just kick back, relax. I'm trying to get comfortable here. I don't know if you're comfortable, but if you're not comfortable, you're making me uncomfortable right now. So please just take a breath. Do us all a favor. Just relax, man. Some of you just sitting on the edge, wondering what I'm gonna say, and I'll tell you before, man. Moms, if you're watching this, take a breathe too, moms. Moms almost had a panic attack after the first recording I dropped. I understand, mom, but so everybody, just let's take a collective inhalation and exhalation on 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. All right. That was for me as much as it was for some of you. I'm being myself, and there was a guy I met when I was in college. I'm going to shout his name, Mr. Miller, Mr. J. Miller. I have stories about him. I'll tell you about Mr. J. Miller. I'm not going to shout his whole name out, but I know back in the day he never liked internet, so I ain't going to blast him like that. Mr. J. Miller is somebody I met in college who he was just being himself. He was just being himself, man. I observed him a number of days, and there was no way I couldn't talk to this guy because he was another Rasta. And getting to know him was one of the anchor points in my life, right? If we could call it something an anchor point when you really kind of feel like you belong. I met another soul who was just different. And he wasn't crazy. I'm not crazy, but you see, I'm myself, man. This is fucking social media. I'm trying to give you a message and just be relaxed, right? Well, everybody's so uptight. We need realness nowadays, man. We need something that's genuine. So I'm going to remind you guys again, all of this is no filters. This is one shot. This is one take. I'm not editing. I'm not cutting anything out. We're not we're going to talk about missing minutes. Why do people keep saying a missing minute when it was 3 minutes? And then now we know they have the actual... Sorry, I digress. I'm going to save that talk for I'm going to save that talk for TikTok, man. I was told TikTok you could talk, you're talking shit, man. Maybe I'll go on TikTok. The only thing is TikTok, I told my brother this. I don't want to put it on my phone, man. I got to get me a burner phone and upload TikTok. TikTok, you're not getting my iPhone. All right, let's get back to the story, man. So this was the track. I'm telling you that we're still on my childhood, okay? And I tell you, the first time I tried to tell the story, it went to 2 hours and 40 minutes. But hey, we're making good time. This is a new way of telling the story. And if I could get through these next stories, then we could get to the point where I tell you about addiction and I tell you about me pleading. Let's give you hold on, we gotta keep you guys in this. Hold on a second. Okay. So I haven't gotten to this point yet, but let's give you a little teaser. I'm gonna give you a teaser. We gotta go to the childhood, but let me give you a little teaser. Okay. I went to law school in 2011, graduated 2014. I practiced law for 10 years. And after 10 years of practicing law, I was arrested and I pled guilty to Here's the teaser. This is gonna keep. Yeah, you see that, right? Okay. So I pled guilty to second degree attempted robbery, carjacking, second degree burglary of an occupied conveyance, third degree grand theft of a vehicle, second degree aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and first degree misdemeanor battery. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you how I went from being a teacher and a great shining example of a mentor and someone who knew he was going to be a teacher at first grade and has had many experiences. I'm going to tell you how I ended up pleading guilty to those charges. We'll also talk about how I ended up being homeless. All right, so that's a teaser? Okay. All right. Okay, this is unscripted, and this is a different way of telling the story. We're going to come back to this. We'll do it again. We'll do it different ways, but I'm being creative here. So fuck it. I'll do it live. That's a reference. Some people, you don't know it. We're going to use that as we're going to use that as a sound bit. All right, fuck it. I'll do it live. You write it, and I'll read it. What does it say here? I can't read it. What does it say? I can't fucking read it. All right, that's a hell of a transition. I gotta do this to tell a story for me to get through it. So it'll be interesting to see the feedback. I'm going to put it all together. I'm joking about a lot of things, but it's a serious story, and I'll get serious in a moment. But I'm having light with it, all right? It's taken me a minute to do that, understand that. It's very serious topics, serious issues. But I once read a quote that said, if you take life too seriously, you'll never get out of it alive. So I'd like to get out of life alive. There's some of you again, I'm speaking to different audiences. If you take life too seriously, you'll never get out of it alive. Which leaves us with a quandrum. A slight, is it quandrum? Quandrum is the word, right? And a quandary. I think it could be one. Someone correct me in the quotes. It leaves us with a dilemma, man. It leaves us with a question. If you take life too seriously, you'll never get out of it alive. The thing is, you can't get out of life alive. So maybe the thing is, don't take the fucking quote so seriously either. But understand, get out of life, bro. You gotta have a sense of humor in this thing. Everybody has a sense of humor, even the people who act like they don't. Everybody has a little sense of humor. Everybody chuckles at somebody. You know? You may not like being a part of jokes. I find myself on that kind of a spectrum lately. I don't like being the butt of people's jokes. But that's been my life. It really has. Whatever. Say what you want. I read this in the Four Agreements. It was a profound point. Nothing anybody says to you can have an impact unless somehow it's true. So a lot of time people, if someone calls you an idiot, are you an idiot? Then why would you let someone call you an idiot have an impact on you unless it's fucking true and it's bothering you? Well, let's say something somebody says is true. Then that's something you just need to confront. Well, most things people say about you is don't let negative comments from people who don't even know you affect you. A negative thought can only take root in fertile soil. So if your mind is not fertile soil for other people's negative thoughts, then other people's negative thoughts can never take root. You understand? So we'll talk about how you make your mind such ground that is pestilence to negativity. See, negativity comes to plant its roots in my garden. It shrivels. Demons run when they see me, man. Yes, and we'll talk about those things. Okay, so let's get to the second half. Hell of a fucking transition. We'll have to edit that. No, we won't. This is when I say it's live, it's live. It'll get better, people. You're on a journey. You're on a journey. I told you I picked this beat a while ago. Let's see if it resonates. Okay, I think we can rock with this. It's gonna break down at some point, but I think we can rock with this. Okay. All right, so this is a point in my life. I talk about a little bit about death, but not really. It's not really death. It's just close instances. And I have to tell you a couple of stories because I've gone through it throughout my life. It's no coincidence. I was once told by my teacher, former teacher, still a mentor, Ross Uncle Kepper of the Temple of Anu. He once told me that, you see, experience is... hold on a second. I ain't gonna lie. Kind of lost that one, what I was gonna say, but we're not gonna edit this one either. So let's get to the story. That thought was gonna come back to me in a second, but I got distracted with what I was looking at. But you'll hear me speak about Ross Uncle Kepper a lot of times. God, fuck that up with the quote, but it'll come back around. I like this. We can rock to this. Let's load this a little bit. Oh, okay. It came back. He once said, pointed out this. And this is not like a truth that he's made up, but just, I remember it being one of those many conversations I've had throughout my life that I've never forgotten. And he pointed out that when something happens once or twice, you might call it a coincidence. But when it happens over and over and again, it's a pattern. So these things that I share with you, I'm going to just share a few. I'm sure other people have stories as well. And if you look at my episode of my On God segment, there's an On God segment that I recorded, and it just says stop marginalizing your experiences. So if you're going through similar things, I'm going to tell you, I hope you haven't marginalized them. I hope you've realized something from them. And no matter what challenges you go through, I hope you're gaining something from them. Don't marginalize your experiences. But I'm going to tell you about a few, right? I like this beat. I think we're going to leave this in the background, drop this for a little bit. Okay, so let me tell you one story. These are just different moments. I'm going to tie them together. Okay. Now, this is perfect, like, kind of reminiscent music. So, I know people like stories, so let's tell some stories. I grew up in Jersey, right? And I have a cousin. Cousin's about my age. Shout out to my cousin Sly. He go by Sly. He go by AG. I hope to have him on this podcast. I don't know what the hell this is. It's going to turn into a podcast when I start being more consistent, I guess. And we're going to do that. This was the big hurdle right here, just telling this first episode. Well, the first episode where I tell my story. But, cuz, right, he going to be on this episode. This is a story that involves him. I actually have another story that involves him as well. All right, so this one, we grew up in Jersey. My cousin's about my age. Now, he didn't live too far from me. So, my mom and his mom, their aunt, the sisters, right? So his mom's my aunt. I like to hear it. There we go. So his mom, my aunt, my mom, his aunt, right? And me and him like were cool growing up because I had other cousins. A lot of them moved away, but he was one of the cousins I grew up with. So here's the story. We used to ride bikes. He gonna remember this too. And the stories I tell you, especially the stories I tell you now, they be validated. I'm not making this shit up, people. And I'm not bragging about anything like that. I don't take my life lightly. I'm telling you, I move a certain way and I talk a certain way because of divine presence in my life. I move a certain way and I talk a certain way because my personal connection with the Creator. That's why I talk this way and I move this way. But make no mistake, I don't take any of this lightly. And I'm sharing it all for a reason. One, I want you to get to know me, right? I'm no different than like many of you. In the same token, I've had these experiences that I have been aware of since I was a child that have been consistent. And as Sanku pointed out to me once, twice, coincidence. In the same token, if we believe that nothing happens by a coincidence, then nothing's by chance, right? Nothing happens randomly. Nothing is as random as you think. But in any case, when you start to see the same thing happening over and over again, people, it's a pattern. So let's stop talking about coincidences like they're coincidences and start realizing there's something more. And even a coincidence is not something that you just brush off. It's two things coinciding. It's two things inciting, happening at the same time. Two things involved in the same thing, right? Understand that. So it's patterns. All right. So we used to ride bikes. And one day my mom, she brought me over to my cousin's house. We were in East Orange. We were in East Orange, New Jersey, and me and my cousin, we went ride, and we had these little BMX bikes. And so the house was here. We would go down the block, turn the corner, then there was a parking lot. And we would loop around the parking lot, come back, go back down the block, come back to the house, right? So just kind of like a little rectangle. It didn't come all the way back, but we left the house, went around the corner, went through the parking lot, loop-de-loop, went back. We did a couple of rounds doing that. And, we racing and we acting like we speed racing, being kids' imagination. So we went out again and and my other cousins, my sister and my other cousins, females, they was with us too. They was riding their bikes, but they had went back. It was me and my cousin. And we were in the parking lot. And this time I was about 7, 8 years old. About first grade, second grade. Yeah. So this time when we went around the corner now, my uncle, God rest his soul, Uncle A.G., I love you, man. I know you watching. I know you proud of your son. I know you proud of me. And we're going to keep your legacy alive. So my uncle was popular. Like, he in the neighborhood. He's just one of them guys that everybody know. And I'm sure he's like an OG. But he settled down and he married, but he an OG. He not on no, disrespecting because he old type shit. He's one of them people that everybody respected. And so we were riding and we saw this Jeep Wrangler. It was a black Jeep Wrangler. And they were on near the entrance to the parking lot. And they were honking the horn. And they're waving to us. And my cousin was like, yeah, I know, that's yeah, so-and-so, they know my father. He said something like that. Now, these guys in the Jeep Wrangler, I remember this. There was two guys. They was Latino. They kind of looked like Rico Suave type motherfuckers. When I say Rico Suave, I'm talking about, I'll never forget one. One had a blank, and I'm telling you how long ago this was. I'll never forget it. One had a black tank top on. They was in a Wrangler with the top off. And we talking about early 90s. So, that's the thing. You bumping the music in the back. They... You know what I'm saying? Fucking Rico Suave with the gold necklace on and whatnot. He driving around. Who knows who the fuck he was? But I'll tell you this. I'm riding behind my cousin. And now we used to loop around the parking lot. But there so happens there was a gap in the fence that you could also ride through. But you got to be careful that your handlebars don't clip. And that was another kind of a shortcut to get back to the street to get to the house. So we're going down. We see the Rico Suave motherfuckers. There's two of them in the Jeep Wrangler. And all of a sudden my cousin was like, yo, back to headquarters. Back to headquarters. I'm like, what? And he turned around. Like, he had turned around. And he's like, back to headquarters. Back to headquarters. He was just shouting that. I'm like, and he just started pedaling fast as hell. And I shit y'all not, I'm pedaling. And I'm like, I don't know why you doing that, but I'm all right. Back to headquarters. And as I looked down, like, you know when you ride and you could kind of look down and you see a back tire, or you see by the back. I saw a Timberland boot, like, running right next to my back tire. I didn't turn around to see, but I'm telling you, it was a Timberland boot was right next to the back tire. And in that moment, we was about to get snatched. That shit was going on. That shit been going on. Trust me. And I mean, I know a lot has happened, but I was a handsome baby. Like, I was a handsome young 6-7-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I was marketable. You know what I mean? I know now it's a different story, but fuck, man. You know, we almost got snatched. But here's the thing, though. It was that split moment. He was just like, back to headquarters. Back to headquarters. And he said like twice. And I'm just still pedaling regularly. And then something in me kind of just looked. As soon as I saw the boot, it connected. And I hauled ass. We broke through that little thing. The handlebars ain't clipped. We got through. We got home safe. But I'm telling you, he will testify to that story. We called the police. We went back to the house, called the police and all that. Kids was getting snatched back then. Like, the kids been getting snatched. And kids are still getting snatched. Trust that. So that's one story. I came out okay. Right? Everything was all right. And let's give you another one. All right, so let me tell you about the story that happened in high school. This is another moment. I'm going to tell you the story, too, because it involves Sly. Sly was in this story, too. Sly will testify to this story. Because Sly was in these stories. So Sly know he moving with, I don't know how much he know, but he really moving with some powerful things that's watching over him. I told you, him and I were in both of these situations together, and life could have turned out differently. And it was in these two split moments. Right? It's just like that split second. When I say his boot was next to the wheel, that means like he was right next to snatching my shoulder, yanking me off that bike. And if I didn't start pedaling faster, it would have happened. Now, my parents know about this story. I don't know if they ever, they knew, because they were at the house. My mom was at the house. My aunt was at the house. You know, the men were elsewhere working and doing whatever. Both mothers worked too, but the men weren't around. Whatever the fuck. Right? But our moms were there. So they know. And maybe they forgot about the story, but I'm telling you, we was this close to getting snatched. One story. So now check the other story with Sly involved. Alright. So my family is from Grenada. Right? I'm gonna show you what I got. Let's get an image in here, right? I'm gonna show you what I look like around that time. This happened when I was in high school. Now, so we go to Grenada, and one of the things, like, my family's from Grenada. When I go there, I don't go as a tourist. Like, you dig? Like Grenada is kind of home to me. I was born here in the States, but most of my family's in the islands, and there's nothing but love there. Yeah, I ain't born there, but I represent Grenada, and Grenada embraces me. I've embraced the culture. I ain't going there trying to, I embrace the culture. You know what I'm saying? So I represent Grenada as much as I represent America. So we're in Grenada. And one of the things you do, like, kind of hang out, Grenada is Grenada and the Grenadines. So Grenada is comprised of, I don't know how to legally, I don't know legal relationship, but Grenada is the main land. There's another island with a lot of people on it called Carriacou. There's Petit Martinique. There's another island. Then there's a lot of small chain islands. There's a lot of these small islands that nobody lives on. They're very small. Some you can walk like a mile in diameter, some less. You know what I'm saying? So there's one. Let me get you this picture. Before I get too deep in this picture, and I'll tell you. All right, so this is in high school. This is like freshman year in high school. Okay, so that was me. That was me freshman year in high school. I'm at Grenada right there, and I was for the record, let the record show. I was smoking a Dutch Master stuffed with weed. I didn't say rolled with weed. I was smoking a Dutch Master, loosened up, took all it, and I stuffed it with weed. Cause at that time, down there, you could get an ounce of weed for like $20 US. You would get an ounce of weed for 20 US. So I went down there. I was in high school. That was either high school. I think maybe that was sophomore year. Cause I wasn't really smoking that. Was I smoking that heavy in freshman year? I might have. Either freshman or sophomore year. But I stuffed that with weed. Okay, so now, besides that point, I'm going to say this. Weed has nothing to do with this story. Okay. But that was me. All right, so that's, I was young. All right, I'm sharing that because, again, I'll tell you, I'm speaking to all different audiences, and part of my thing is, like, I got to let Gen Y, Gen Z know, like, big bros here, man, don't push out all the older dudes, bro. We, like, you got some real people out here that done live their life and still living their life and still doing things, and we respect you. Like, we know a lot of OGs and unks and all that, and the old heads, and maybe your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents giving you a lot of shit. But we younger generations too, we got the shit too. Like, we was looked at a certain type of way. Y'all on your thing, man. Y'all being different, y'all doing your thing. So I support you. You know what I'm saying? But I also want you to take care of yourself. I also want you to realize that you're a part of something that's bigger than you. I also want you to realize that you're not alone. I also want to let you know that you could live life, have fun, and still prosper and do good. You know what I'm saying? Help other people. I want to let you know that you're going through dark times, that they don't last forever. I do want to let you know those things, so that's a big reason why I'm sharing a lot of these things too, because y'all like stories, man, and I put my life on the line, and I'll tell my story, man. I don't got no shame in the game. I ain't even, like, we an hour and a half in, and we ain't even get to the shit yet, so looks like we heading to 2 hours and 40-minute segment again. Y'all take breaks from this, man. I'll chop it up at some point, but I'm doing it straight. I'm not editing, man. It is what it is. If I get tired doing it, then it's going to show. And y'all going to be like, yo, he getting tired. He should take a break. And I'm going to be like, nah. I said I was going to do it in one take. I said, fuck it. I'll do it live. Side note, I will say this. I haven't eaten all day. And I am hungry, but I'm not. I'm in the zone right now, man. So that's why my energy is high, and I'm giving you. I don't just be walking around shouting out like this. This is for the fucking camera. If you don't understand, I'm a professional. I know how to be professional. At the same token, I'm a professional on myself as well. But I don't be shouting. I gotta let people know that because some of you must be confused right now, and I don't know if I told you. I have told you in other episodes. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer as well. I'm a licensed to practice law. I'm a lawyer. I'm licensed. That's real. All right, so let's get to the story in Grenada. I'm gonna tell you this one, then we're gonna get to the turn of everything. We're gonna bring this in. Now you understand why the first episode, when I tried to tell my story, went 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I ain't getting nowhere near the turning point. Because I'm taking time to just joke around some, and hey, we just gotta be entertaining, right? You don't want, like, I'm just doing something different and being myself. I'm tired of hearing people just talk. So we just being real. This is what this is. This This is a space to be real. I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch too. That's in the mix. I've been talking about that for a second, but we'll be streaming live. I'm gonna be a Twitcher. Is that what they call him? Is that you're the Twitcher? I was gonna say a tweaker. I'm gonna be a tweaker on Twitch. I can say that because I used to be a tweaker. Gives me the right. All right, so this is gonna be an interesting story. Let's let this be right after this one. I feel like it kind of needs something more dramatic. Nah, this is gonna be good. Okay. All right, so in Grenada, getting back to the point, you go out to these smaller islands to have fun, right? So you take a small boat and you go fishing, right? But the whole idea is you go out to one of the smaller islands. You bring friends, you bring family, take a boat. You go over there, you set up a one pot. In Grenada, they call it a one pot. A one pot is literally a one pot. You're going to cook everything in one pot on the beach. On the beach. You're going to cook a one pot on the beach. A one pot is everything. You throw some potatoes in there, some yams, some carrots, some onion. You go fishing, put some fish in there. The guys that we were with that day, they caught and I know this is, some people will be upset. They caught a turtle. It was a giant turtle. They killed the turtle. They cooked the turtle. It was a turtle soup. And it fed many people. But that they did. I didn't partake. There was something else that happened. I didn't have an appetite after what happened. All right, so here's the story. So we go to this island. We're having fun. Me and my cousin, we were smoking. I'll be honest, we were smoking. And we had weed, so we smoked up some big fucking spliffs. And check this island out. This island was small and it had a fort on it, right? And it was that old fort from colonial days. We're gonna talk about colonialism in other episodes. And you just go there to hang out, right? So we explored the island, but we was walking through the smoke. All right, we come back. Now here's the point. Now this island is a small island, but the main land is, you can see it visibly, right? So how can I really show this to you, right? See one here. So they're separate, but you can see them. So it's a short boat ride in between. Now when we got to this island, nobody else was there. Later on, another boat came, because other people do this, right? And then there was a boat that brought tourists around. So they were at the shore. They pulled up. They were there. So it's starting to be a little more people, not just the family. All right. So in between the islands, there are rocks. It's not really a reef because you can walk on them. There are rocks. And the rocks go across. Now, my cousin and I, we were walking across the rocks. Now, when you walk across the rocks, it literally looks like you're in deep waters, but you're not. You're on the rocks, but you're in between two islands. So, little did I know, understanding how science and the world of currents works, right? There's a current, a very strong current. We're in the ocean. It's between the mainland and the small land. You don't really notice it, but there's a current there. So me and the cousin, we're walking on the rocks, and we're far out. It looks like we're in the middle of deep, deep waters, but everybody knows you're on the rocks, right? So I'm trying to get to them. So I'll take my foot off the rocks, and I start swimming towards them. Then I go a couple of steps because I'm not a great swimmer. I know how to swim, but I am not a great swimmer at all. I know how to swim. I'm not a great swimmer at all. I could not swim to the full length of a swimming pool. Maybe halfway with a lot of effort. I'm one of those type of swimmers. I could back float and backstroke better than I can front side. So I try to put my foot down. I ain't feel the rock. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, don't sweat. There's rocks. We just walked from the mainland across there. We in the middle of this fucking rocks. I was like, all right, let me just swim back. Swim back, let me put my foot down. Oh, I can't find a rock. So I ain't panicked. Right? I ain't panicked. I'm like, all right, the fucking rock gotta be around here somewhere. I'm not even realizing the stream. I try to swim. Now, mind you, we're literally in the middle of the two islands. I try to put my foot down again. I can't find the fucking rock. Then I say, oh shit. Now that's when it starts to hit me. It starts to hit me that you're not in a good position. And why did it start to hit me? Because I was getting tired. And I was swimming to try to get back on the rock, but I was getting tired. When I say I was getting tired, I was so tired, like I knew I was about to start going down. I was going to start drowning. Like I was exhausted. You're swimming against a current, a stream of current going through in a narrow gap. And I'm swimming against that, trying to get back to rocks that are not even there anymore. And I look up to my cousin. And I say to him, he's above water. I went down once. My whole head went down. I came back up. And I'm paddling. I said, yo, I can't find the rocks. I was like, yo, cuz, I can't find the rocks. And he ain't say anything to me. I said, cuz, I can't find the rocks. I said the third time. And all of a sudden, I saw him go down. He went underwater. Because he wasn't responding. He didn't say nothing to me. He went underwater. Then he popped back up. And then I realized he couldn't find the rocks either. I couldn't find the rocks. He couldn't find the rocks. I didn't know who couldn't find the rocks first. Because I didn't say anything the minute it first happened. And I'm sure he didn't say anything the minute it first happened either. So neither one of us could find the fucking rocks. Neither one of us really knew. But I knew when he went down and I saw him. And he popped back up. And he's swimming. He didn't say anything. He took like 2 or 3 strokes and he went back down again. So I'm doing a little better than him right now, but we both are bobbing for air. And here's the thing. In that moment, I never told my parents this. They don't know this. I didn't want to scream. I didn't want to scream. I knew in that moment, the thoughts had crossed my mind. Well, fuck. You're going to die in the fucking ocean drowning. I don't know why. I just felt at ease. And I didn't want to scream. A part of me, I didn't want to be embarrassed. Man, I don't know. I can't justify it in any kind of logical manner. Because I was in high school. I wasn't depressed at that point. We're about to get to the depression part and the drugs and the fucking homelessness and the fucking prison. We're going to talk about all that. But I wasn't depressed at that point. Not fully. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I was experiencing things in life. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, finding yourself. But I didn't want to die. But I wouldn't yell. I didn't want to yell. I refused to yell. I never really shared that with anybody. I didn't want to yell. And I didn't yell. I was just, I don't know. I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to yell. I felt relaxed. I didn't feel like there was a need to yell. But I was drowning. But I felt like it would be embarrassing to yell for help. It was like, I didn't need help. But I needed help. But it was like, I didn't need help. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need help. But I was drowning. And my cousin, well, thank God for my cousin. My cousin started yelling. He said, help! 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 And he yelling. My mom, his mom, my sister, his sisters, Not even two of them. The other people's on the beach. They looked at us. They turned around. They looked at us. And they turned back around. And they kept on talking. They thought we were joking. He yells, "Help! Help!" He yells again. And then they turn back around. And they see him going up, and yo, both of us are bobbing for air. We're both fucking going down. Sly will testify to this story, and I want him to tell his version. I want him to tell him what he remembers. But he'll testify to the story. It's real. They thought we were joking. We weren't joking. And at that moment, I guess they took us serious. So then you see them starting to scuttle on the beach. Now, they're on the beach. One of them has a boat. But when I say we going down, we have both been bobbing for fucking air for a minute. I'm not screaming for help. Maybe he had the same thoughts in his head. I don't know what he was thinking. But he screamed for help. Almost immediately after the second or third time he bobbed up for air. I just kept bobbing for air. I just refused to scream for help. He screamed for help. Thank God he did. They scuttle on the beach. They scuffling around. Now they taking it serious. They thought we was just joking. Me and him never joke like that. That's why they thought we would pull off a joke to that degree. Like, me and him, that's my ace. But we never joked around to that degree. Like, we not pranksters like that. And he was literally screaming for help. Then they scuffle to try to come, but by the time they come, I'm looking like I'm not going to make it. And I'm looking at my cousin, I'm like, yo, he ain't going to make it either. We're fighting a stream. That's no way we're going to win. It's pushing us out to who the bumblefuck knows where. And it's going to take them a second to get in that boat and start that engine and come. Then, out of nowhere, almost fucking magical, a skiff comes, like a Coast Guard skiff. We're in the Caribbean islands. It ain't no Virgin Island either. But a orange colored like skiff came with some like lifeguard type like the Coast Guard. Like, they were there. They were not there before. They were not there when we had got to the island. I don't know where they came from. They fucking came out of nowhere. I shit you not, they came out of nowhere. A skiff boat, orange skiff boat, comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, whoo, because I'm still not yelling for help. My cousin is yelling for heaven's delight. Like, he's screaming. And he's going down. Because, I'm sorry, he was. We were both drowning. We was fucking drowning. I was just as bad. I was going down. Then we saw the skiff, and the skiff starts heading towards me. The skiff is heading towards me. So I'm like, whew, because I was beat. I really can't fight no more. I was really just about to let go. And I saw the skiff, and I'm like, whew. And then, right as they're coming to me, they look at my cousin, and they turn. They turned direction, and they went to my cousin. And I wasn't even mad at that moment. I knew what they were doing. I knew that if they were already heading to me, but both of them turned and looked at him, and then they turned their direction and went to him, it was because he was in more danger. So they went to him, and I was just praying. I was praying that I could just hold on until they got back. I was praying that I could just hold on until they got back. And then they picked him up. I'm going down. This next time, I don't think I have the strength to come up. Something hit me on my back. Something hit me on my back, I said. I turned around. It was a fucking rope to a yacht. people, the yacht was not there before. I did not see it because the whole time I'm drowning, I'm still looking in my cousin's direction because I'm concerned for him too. I was happy he started yelling because I didn't want both of us to die. I don't know why I didn't want to yell. But when he started yelling, I was happy. I was happy maybe both of us would get saved, but I was hoping he would get saved. I was happy he started yelling because I wasn't going to yell. Maybe that was, I don't know if that was selfish. I wasn't going to yell though. When I said the yacht came out of nowhere, I think that maybe, perhaps, like I said, there was no boats there before. But we drifted a bit, but he wasn't far from me, but he wasn't nowhere close to the boat. He wasn't nowhere close to the boat. I, without knowing, was carried straight to a boat. And my back, let me tell you this, I didn't even have to see God's helping hand. I didn't even have to know it was coming. Yeah? I didn't know it was coming. I accepted my death. And God's helping hand. I say this is divine guidance. People, I tell you, it's happened in my life so many times that I can't just say it's coincidence. Yeah, so tears come to my eyes when I tell it. You know why? Because it just shakes me up. A reminder, I guess. Yeah, but I didn't want to yell. I didn't scream. And I brushed up against the rope. So that was another encounter. And I said again, this has happened throughout my life from the time I was young. I'm not telling you everything, but I'm telling you I looked at life differently, and then these things would keep happening. And there's been so many times. I'll give you two. All right, first of all, let's drop another beat. I might have used this one before, but let's drop another beat because I'm gonna tell you two more stories. I'll try to make these quicker. Like I said, this is gonna be a long episode, so I've been going live. You take a break from this shit, come back to it. I'm doing one shot, one take. I don't got no time for editing. We put this out. We'll edit it later. We'll chop it up. We'll chop it up, but I'm not editing. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we're not going to chop anything up. If I chop it up, I'm just going to make part 1, part 2. And it's going to flow. Like, I'll do a little segue clip and introduce it. We're not editing. All mistakes will be recorded. And if I say something I don't mean, then I'll explain myself. And you determine what to do with my explanation. But I'm not worried. I speak from my heart. It'll be what it is. It'll be what it be. So be it. So be it. Shout out the clips. My brother tried to tell me somebody album was better because I ain't gonna mention the other person. I'm like, bro, we disagree on that. That's just that's gonna be a note for historical record, some reference point as to what was happening in the world. There was a drop of an album by a group called The Clips. There's a song called So Be It. So be it, so be it. Let's try this one, okay? We gotta get through the story, because I gotta get through the whole thing. But I need to tell you these pieces, so trust me, I'm working my way through it. It's been a long day too. I haven't eaten all day, and I was working a 9 to 5, and did some work after that with the business. But this is gonna be the new thing. We gotta get it out there. Somebody will see it. I'll do this again and make a cleaner version. This is it. All right. I'll tell you, let me show you. I'm gonna tell you a college story. Then we're gonna tie this. We'll tie it all in, and we're gonna get to this next part. We'll get to the next part, and I'm gonna pick up the energy for the next part too, because it's gonna be required for us to get through this. You guys can hear this, but I can't. And I don't know what the glitch is with my software, but maybe it'll kick in at some point. Let me try one more time. Alright, I can hear that now. That's the thing, I need to hear. I'm not rhyming to the beat or nothing like that, but it produces a kind of, you know what I'm saying? Kind of ambiance. Alright, so I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you two quick college stories. Alright, and I'm gonna spare the setups for you. So this was freshman year, and on Thursday nights was party night. I got a graphic for you. I went to Rutgers, New Brunswick. And I'm telling you, this is a story. My parents ain't never heard this story, and if they ever watch my recordings, what I'm doing, and they get through the whole thing, then they'll get to this part and they'll hear some college stories that they never knew about. I'm gonna share two with you right now. Alright, so Thursday nights is party night, right? Let me show you freshman year, and we're gonna try to move that. Okay, well actually, man, I could probably tell you, like, alright, let's see how I can tell you these stories in a kind of manner that don't run the rest of our clock. Alright. Display capture. That was my college dorm. This is from an old picture, right? And so I can talk so y'all kind of see me. So this is my college dorm. This was before I set everything up. I got there first, and you know, first come, first serve. You pick your bed. I took the bed by the window. The setup was kind of like this, right? So right here, you're gonna see a suitcase. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a suitcase in there. I had that until not too long ago. Got thrown away, but it's the reason I'm bringing that up. Right, so here's the story. In this dorm, it's Thursday night, this freshman year. And I got friends that didn't go to Rutgers, and that was wild. Like, I've had friends throughout my life. I don't know if I really call them friends. Looking back, they're more associates. They were all associates. And I think that's a fair assessment. But I'll call them friends in the context of this story. And this gentleman, I never had no issues with him. Like, I'd say he was probably a friend in some way. Almost killed me. So here's the story. So Thursday is college night, party night in college, and I have friends that come down. They kind of crazy and wilding, and my boy came. So we're about to go out. We're about to go out. We're about to parties. Everybody's fucked up. We all been drinking. And I'll never forget this. And he's alive, and he's gonna end up seeing this video. He could testify to this. I'm not making this story up. He was drunk. Now I'm gonna call him Big J. Just call him Big J for the purposes of the story. Big J was drunk. Now when Big J got drunk, now mind you, we freshmen. He's about the same age. So what's freshman? I was about 18 maybe. I was about 18, and obviously we ain't supposed to be drinking, but you know, well, everybody got a fake ID and knows somebody that knows somebody. So we drinking. Big J fucked up off of that Yukon Jack. That Yukon Jack is that dark liquor, and he's nice. It was either that or he used to fuck with the Southern Comfort, but he was hard. Like, he was drinking hard liquor and he was fucked up. So we gonna go out. We go back to my room, just to like drop our stuff off, because like we don't got a party, you don't want to bring everything that you got on you. So you know what I'm saying, we kind of had some weed, whatnot, whatever. Like we gonna go back, drop it off. My roommate was in there. I just met my roommate during freshman first week moving. I never forget his name. His name was Alex. Alex, I think might have been, he was South American. I can't remember what country. But he was South American. He was cool as hell. He was an engineer. He was in the engineer program. He was cool as hell. He knew like I was smoking and whatnot, but I wouldn't really do it in the room when he was there. But he was cool and he drank. That night he was in the room as well. So me and John go in the room and we gonna put some stuff away. So then Big J, he pulled out his little 22. And he was like, yo, I could leave this here, I could uncock this, and I never moved with guns and nothing like that. But like I said, bro, everybody knows somebody, right? Like I grew up in Jersey. Like everybody in Jersey knows somebody that had a piece growing up, and everybody in Jersey knew. If you was like weren't like a complete bookworm, I was kind of a geek too, but I was out. Like everybody knows somebody, you know what I'm saying, in Jersey. Like yeah, New York, all that. Y'all get what I'm saying. He had a piece. He kind of moved a certain way as a young man. Had a rough childhood growing up, kind of a thing. So he was like, yo, can I uncock this? Like, I leave this here? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And then he took it. It was a little 22. He took it, he cocked it, he took the clip out, and he pointed, he was like, see? It's unloaded. And he pointed it right at me. And he was about to squeeze his finger to show me. He was like, see? And he was pointing it at me, took the clip out, and was going to show me by squeezing the trigger that it was empty. And then right as he was about to squeeze, his fingers started to move. And I'm telling you, the man is still alive. He'll testify to it. He ain't going to get in trouble, man. That was so many fucking years ago. Ain't no evidence of nothing, right? But as he was about to pull, like he started to pull. I saw him do this. Like he shook his head. He's like, nah, like fuck, my bad, bro. Like he just shook his head. Like, my bad, bro. Then he pointed it down towards my suitcase in the closet. And then he pulled it. Clap! That shit went off right in the dorm. And I'll never forget this very moment. And Alex, if you're still alive and you see this video, you know who I'm talking to. You know I'm talking to you. You know you was there that night. My roommate was drinking like this big ass cup of water. Well, it wasn't water he was drinking. It was Thursday night. He was doing calculus problems while drinking like a big ass, like, jungle juice kind of fucking container. And he was doing, like, I'm telling you, calculus AB homework. I'll never forget, he was drinking, and as he was bringing it to his cups, the cup to his lips, the gun went off, and he threw the whole cup in his face. And he turns around, he's like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit too. Because here's the point. If that man did not turn that gun in the other direction at the last minute, he would have shot me dead center. Point blank. He was standing at arm's length. Like he was right in front of me. My roommate's back was turned at the moment, so he was gonna uncock it and just stash it. And yeah. But what I'm saying once again, it was just this moment, this brief like glitch that happened. If it wasn't for that, I would have been shot. And I'm saying this because it's happened so many times in my life, not just with near-death encounters, but in situations where I wasn't sure how I was going to come out. I've walked through thorns, man, and have come out without a scratch. And I can do nothing more but attribute that to this thing I know, which is beyond all of our comprehension. And when I say this thing that I know, I'm saying that I know that it's beyond our comprehension, man. It's God, right? It's divine intelligence. It's consciousness. It's real. So I share my life so you understand when we get to the second half. And we're going to see the turning point. Let me share another college story with you. Another party night. This involved drinking. Another party night. So like sophomore year, I was blessed enough to have a car. My mother persuaded my father. They were divorced. Were they divorced at that time? I think they were together or they were divorced. I don't fucking know. But my mom like kind of rooted for me. And yeah, I think they were going through divorce at that time. They were separated. What the fuck? They were divorced. But she encouraged him and my father, acquiesced. And then they helped me get my first car. I was a 95 Altima. And I remember this was sophomore year. Yeah, sophomore year. Friends once again came down. Another friend had a car. He had a car. It was a Honda Civic. It was a 2-door. And man, there was like 6 of us that night, including him. So we had plans to drink. He was going to be the designated driver. I had a car too, but I wasn't going to drive. That night we were drinking at Bankers Club. I never forget that detail. We were drinking at Bankers Club. Bankers Club is fucking cheap ass vodka. It's like Majorska and Laird's. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The bottom of the shelf. So we fucked up. I'm talking about we're fucked up. We're smoking. We're drinking. We're fucked up. He's a designated driver. We're going to a club down in Sayreville. It might have been Club Abyss or some shit like that. So we're going to a club, and we're all fucked up except him. He the designated driver. He just smoked. Like, he ain't drink. That was okay. At that point, we've been smoking since fucking high school, so it was good handle driving high. Drinking is another story. So I never had the intentions to drive. We had a designated driver. We go outside, and all of a sudden, we go to his car, and everybody getting in, and he's like, "Yo, I can't take everybody," because he had rims. He had a 2-door Civic, and he had rims, like low-profile tires. He didn't want to put everybody in it because he didn't want to weigh down his rims. So, like, I get it, but I'm like, we already had the plan. Like, we all going to the club, we pre-game, we fucking nice. We're not just staying on campus. We ain't staying in the dorm. You the designated driver. And now guess what? Out of everybody that was going that night, you know the one person that couldn't fit in the car? Who kind of walked up to the car last? Or who, because I had my own car, I was like, brushed off. Like, yo, you got your own car? Me. Fucking me. Then they're probably my idea to go to the fucking club and all that shit too, but me, I get left out. He says, it's one too many people. So I'm drunk. I'm like, you know what, man, fuck that shit. You know how you drunk. You drunk, you be on here, man, fuck that shit. Fuck that motherfucker. I got my own fucking car. I spaz like, yo, fuck that shit, man. Fuck that shit, motherfucker. I got my own fucking car. Blacking out. I was just drunk. So I get in my car. I'm determined to get to this fucking club. I just didn't realize how fucked up I was. And I'm going to say this. I don't condone or encourage driving while you're intoxicated or drinking at all. I've done it throughout my life. I've never gotten in any accident. I never got pulled over. I never got any DUI. I'm not proud of it, but I'm happy that I never hurt anybody. I never injured myself. I never even injured any. I never got into nothing but numerous occasions, I don't know how I did it. I'm going to say that. I don't know how I did it. Other than, I do know. Pointing. God, this thing all around us. I was being protected because God knows I should have caught a few under my belt. Accidents I have had, but not under the influence. Speeding. Like being too fast, being young, not being patient. All right, so we fucked up. I get in the car. I'm like, yo, fuck these motherfuckers, bro. Like, so now we're gonna start to connect the theme in my life, and now we're gonna tie this together. All right. So we're gonna go. Right as I'm about to pull off, somebody hits the glass. I'm the only one in my car. They're all fit into the other dude's car. Just fucking me. Me. We're all friends. We've all known each other for some time, but just fucking me. I'm the only one that gets left out. Maybe it's because I have a car. But here's the thing. I'm fucked up, right? I'm fucked up. We've all been drinking. The point was so I don't have to drive. And then if I chose not to drive, I would have been left behind. Literally, the people I so-called friends, I call so-called friends, this is what they were going to do. And they've done it before. And the people I called friends in my life, all throughout my life, as young, as middle-aged, as a grown-up, as older, they have all done the same things. They've turned their back. And I'm not complaining. I'm not stating to be a victim or anything. I'm just telling you the facts of what has happened in my life. All except maybe 4 that I know and that I have met from different periods of my life. Everybody else has turned their back or has cursed me in my face and disrespected me like I would never imagine or never thinking doing to another person I call a friend. For no warranted reason, and oftentimes out of nowhere. I was left out. I'm not perfect, but I was always a true friend. And I stand on that. But for whatever reason, one way or another, I always got left out. Alright? So let me tell you what happened. As I'm about to pull over, as I'm about to pull off, a hand hits the car. Joe! And I'm like, I didn't know how fucked up I was, right? But I turned and I looked at the window, and it's my boy. His name Al. We call him Al. Al comes, right? Al's banging on the glass. So I unlock the door. Let me get some focus in here. I unlock the door, and Al says, Joe, like, yo, let me drive with you. Like, let me drive with you. Let me get in with you. Al was fucked up, too. And my car was a stick shift to stay on top of all of that. Like, I was driving manual. So, I'm like, all right, yo, get in. Al got in last minute. Let me tell you what ended up happening. I don't know what they ended up doing, but I never made it to Route 18. I never made it to Route 18. Let me tell you what happened. I'm driving, and mind you, they got the sober driver behind me. These motherfuckers are following me because I know how to get to the club. I'm drunk as shit. And Al jumped in the car last minute. I need this to... Al jumped in the car last minute. I'm going down Route 18. And all I remember is snapping on Al. Because he grabbed the steering wheel. That's all I remember. Him grabbing the steering wheel. And me just snapping. I was like, yo, what the fuck you doing? Yo, I ripped into him. I was like, what the fuck you doing? Don't ever fucking grab my fucking steering wheel. You fucking crazy? What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck you grabbing? I was blacked out drunk. I'm not proud of this moment. I'm telling you how fucked up I was. I was blacked out drunk. Al says to me this, my bad, Joe. He said, yo, you were reaching for something down by your foot. He said, I didn't know what you were trying to grab. You were reaching for something down by your foot, so I grabbed the wheel. You understand? I literally blacked out behind the wheel on Route 18, which is a highway And at that, the area that we was at, it was like something like 4 lanes wide. Don't ask me why, but that part of the fucking highway was like 4 lanes wide. I'm swerving all the fuck across 4, maybe even 5 fucking lanes. I didn't hit anybody. I don't know how. And if Al did not get in the car that day, there's no way I would have walked away without an accident. Without a catastrophic accident. Without probably a tragic accident. Without my death. You understand what he told me? And I didn't realize until after, bro. And then I was still fucked up. And it didn't really hit me what happened. And so I pulled over. Because after that, I'm like, obviously something happened. And he's like, yo, my bad. And he didn't even go off on me, bro. He was like, my bad, bro, my bad. You were trying to reach something by your foot. I didn't know what you were trying to. I grabbed the wheel, my bad, bro. I'm sorry, bro. And I ripped him when I kept going, bro. And I pulled over. I was like, get the fuck out of the car, bro. Don't ever fucking grab my steering wheel. Get the fuck out of my fucking car. I pulled over, and he got out. And still, just as fucked up as I was, when he had just saved my life, I peeled off. And I left all the motherfuckers. Because at that point, I was mad because I never wanted to fucking drive. And the logical thing, right, would have been to let somebody else drive. But like I said, I drive stick shift. I drive a manual with a clutch. Nobody else knew how to drive stick shift. So, nobody else could drive. And I should have never pulled off, but I did. I don't know where I went after that. I know for a fact I didn't get in no accident. I know I got back to the campus, and so I left them. I don't know where the fuck they went. I left. I disappeared. I don't know where the fuck I went. I might have just kept driving. I might have pulled over. I don't know. I just know I was okay. I didn't get no accidents. But I'll tell you this. If I didn't get in the car at that moment, I would have fucking died. I would have died. All right. So, let me stand up and make no mistake, we're going to finish this. Okay. So, once again, these episodes are just, I want the world to get to know me. I want the listeners to get to know me. Because I have a message. I'm here to help. I'm here to work with people going through tough times. I'm here to work with people who are looking to transform, change their lives in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And what you see here is like a bit of, it's not entertainment. It's real. I am kind of being entertaining, but everything I'm doing is real. And it's me being who I am. I do believe in just bringing a little spice to the conversations. Like, life is real. Life is tough. Life can be challenging. So why not just have a little fun while we going through all the bullshit? That's the beauty and the power of comedy. All right. So now we're gonna have to do another beat for this because this is a transition point, and I don't know why, but I'm having. Those of you that's watching, you might end up just seeing me blurry, bro. Like, my eyes is blurry, the camera going blurry. The camera is like synchronizing with my spirit right now or something. Alright. So this is a big turning point, and I want to kind of flow through this part of the story. Because I do want to get through this. And we had 1 hour and 43 minutes. So we're doing good. Because the first time I tried to tell all this, I was at 2 hours and 40 minutes when I got to this point. So this is a turning point. None of this is going to be logical. It's not going to make sense. There's a lot I'm leaving out because, as you see, I can't tell you everything in one sitting. But this is just an introduction to my life. And by doing so, as other people I have met and befriended in my journeys, as Mr. Miller from college, him being himself, it just gave me the space to be myself as well. So I'm sharing my story and I'm sharing all these things and to help others see there's power in your story. Never mind what you've gone through and what other people think. What did you learn from it? Never mind all the darkness. Never mind the struggle. Never mind the pain. Never mind the hurt. Never mind the disappointment. Never mind the betrayal. Never mind the wrong choices. Never mind the doubt. What did you learn from it? What did you gain from it? Because all of it was a gift. All experience is a gift. Because no matter how gloom and no matter how dark it may seem, I'm telling you there's something in it. And I know that's a hard pill for us to swallow sometimes. But there's always more happening than what you see on the surface. All right. So we got to do another beat for this. Let's try. I might have done those too. I have so many beats from this service I pay for on a monthly basis. I just kind of just download them and kind of feel the vibe. Kind of just use them to just set a tone. Okay, I think I know what I'll do. This is I wasn't originally going to use this one, but I think this one will be good. All right, first of all. Okay. Yeah, this is it. There's a couple I could choose for this. I'm gonna choose this one though. Oh man, bro. Here's the problem. I be using all these beats. I use these beats when I'm recording, and sometimes I don't mark them off. So I just kind of list a whole bunch of songs that I may have used. This one, I could use. Yeah. Okay. Choices, man. We'll go with this one. All right, so let's talk. Let's talk the second part. Let's get you, baby, be kid. You guys can hear it, but I need to hear it. It'd be coming in, but all right. Yeah, I like this. This is appropriate. This is good. I think you guys are still hearing that. Let's try to get this right, bro. When I get a Jamie to like assist with these technical issues, we'll be even Steven. Y'all can hear me clicking away. All right. I know. Here's the thing. All right. Let's see if that stays. Okay, so here's a transition point. This is some of you are going to relate to this, some of you may not. There's like a lot of pieces I wish I could share with you, but too much for one sitting. So I'm going to say this. I shared with you my childhood, and I told you that when I was young, I just looked at life differently. I I just knew there was more to life. So I asked questions. And I end up learning that when you take a position of acknowledging and recognizing that you don't know, when you allow yourself to be open to what's out there, right? We live in a world of infinite potential, infinite possibilities. There are things that defy our explanation. Even things that we exist with every day that we still cannot explain. We live according to different theories. Like gravity is a theory. You understand, a theory is explanation for something that is supported by scientific fact, but may not necessarily be true. So the way that we explain gravity, it's a theory. It may not be true. Our explanation of how gravity works. You understand? So we have gravity is a theory. It's an explanation. It's supported by fact. It might be true, but it's not necessarily true. That's the definition of a theory. I'm not making that up. I remember that from science class. Right? So, despite all that I have come to experience in life and the questions I've asked, I'm going to tell you what it did. It isolated me. At an early age, I never felt like I belonged here. I didn't. You're talking to someone who says they knew they were going to be a teacher when they were 6 years old. And after that, I took it serious. All the classrooms I went in, all the teachers I've had, I looked at their teaching style, what they did and what they didn't do, what I liked and what I would do and what I wouldn't do. But I just knew. I can't explain to you. But I knew that I was going to be a teacher. And I looked at the world differently. When the word reincarnation was introduced to me, it kind of made sense to me instantly. The word resonated because that was an explanation. It gave me an explanation to understand why I was having certain thoughts at an early age that apparently nobody else my age was having. Why I saw the world a different way at a young age when that's not what my peers were into. That's not what they thought about. And I kept those things secret, but I never felt like I belonged. And I felt that way for a long time. And other people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. I know you're out there. So I'm telling you that you're not alone with those feelings. And for me, eventually, it would take a toll. I'm a Scorpio by nature. And I say that because one of the characteristics of Scorpio is kind of being like a loner, kind of being the soloist. I'm fine with being by myself. I'm fine with alone time. I don't always need to be in a relationship. I don't need to be around people. That's me. But I also realize that no man is an island. And at some point, it gets to you. Well, it got to me. Right? So just imagine decades. And when I say decades, I mean decades of feeling that way. I never really told anybody who would understand a young child feeling like they didn't belong here. I just didn't feel like I belonged. As I got older, all through high school, all through college, and afterwards, I never felt like I belonged. I never quite fit in. I'm the type of person, anywhere I go, no matter if I try to sneak in, if I try to go unacknowledged and unrecognized, I always get recognized. My energy is just different. Like, I'm different. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought to myself, why can't I just be like everybody else? Why can't I agree with everybody else and their opinions? And why can't I agree with all these other opinions that I'm being told is the truth? There's certain things I'm told I just wouldn't accept it. Like, even when it comes to God and explanations of God and all that, I refuse to accept it. There's something in me just told me, nah, you're not wrong in questioning. That's what I was told. You're not wrong in questioning. So I searched with pure intention, man. With humbleness and humility, and I just searched. And I learned many of the things that I had been taught all throughout life were a lie, a half-truth. That just isolated me. It isolated me. And not only that, even amongst kindred spirits, I still stand out. When sometimes you just want to be like everyone else, you know? Like sometimes you don't want to stand out. You just want to blend in. I tried, man. I tried to blend in. I was tired of being isolated. And I'm very much an introvert, but I've always known I'm social. I know how to talk to people. Like I have quality interactions with people, but still with all that, I never felt attached. I never felt like I belong here. And that, like I said, it took a toll. So I started drinking in high school. I wasn't depressed back then, but I think maybe all that was like coping mechanism. Maybe peer pressure as well. Started drinking and smoking in high school. Continued through college. Continued after that in graduation. And I would say this, weed, some people say weed is a gateway drug. Weed was never a gateway drug for me. Alcohol was. Because at some point I tapped out. And like I said, this is not logical. It makes no sense because I knew better. My parents had taught me better. I had seen examples in the neighborhood of what not to do. I even had family members who kind of went through it as well. So I knew not to do hard drugs. I knew I was drinking and smoking, but drinking and smoking, we look at it as acceptable. But really, anytime you're at a loss of control, anytime when your discipline is compromised, I would say it's unacceptable. There are harsher consequences when it comes to context, right? But we're going to talk about weed too, because that seems to be like the lesser evil. And I'm a weed connoisseur, I'm a weed advocate, but like I said, we got to have a real conversation about weed because it's addictive and there's a lot of us abusing it, whether we want to admit it or not, but we have to. But I tapped out, man. I tapped out. I knew I shouldn't have done, but it wasn't logical. But I tapped out. I was tired. Like, I don't know. I was like, fuck it. I don't want to fucking really, I'm not really having fun in life. Because no matter what, I always end up by myself. No matter how much I put myself out there for others, and I'm not looking for anything in return, but I'm talking about the level of betrayal, the level of fuckery. It make me wonder why. What did I do to deserve such things? And that sounds like someone complaining and being a victim. No, but I tell you, I've been a loner by nature. I spent a lot of time by myself. I'm not a crowd person. I spent a lot of time by my fucking self. That's the other part of this whole thing. Not only did I feel isolated, I spent time by myself. But that's how I found myself. That's how I learned, right? So it's not anything necessarily wrong with being by yourself, but there's a balance to all of that. And I tapped out, man. I just didn't fucking care anymore. And I had good people around me. I had spiritual circle, organization, group, family that I was a part of. But I had never really faced my unresolved issues. These feelings were with me since childhood. And it gets more complex. Like, I'm not gonna try to sit here and have a whole fucking psychiatry session with you. But understand, I wasn't right within. There were things, like, again, looking at the world differently from an early age, not really having anyone to speak to, But then speaking to people about it and still having to make sense of all those things was a lot for me. My failure in relationships with females, I tried. Never, like, I've been in a long-term relationship. One was a high school love. That's a story for the ages. But that lasted several years. I was with somebody else a couple of years, but other than that, I'm 43 years old, man. I've been in like maybe 3 serious relationships and some sprinkling here and there, but I've never been a playboy or nothing like that. I've never just been, I can't. Bro, even if I wanted to, I'm just different. My vibe different, my energy different. I'm not weird or nothing like that, but I'm not like a lot of these dudes, bro. My game is different. I'm just me. I talk like I don't fit into the mold. So I usually click and connect with people that I've gotten to know, and they get to know me and they vibe with me, or they're just on a similar frequency. But I tapped out, man. So I ended up dibbling and getting addicted. I got addicted to hard drugs. I did coke, I did crack, I did crystal meth, and I did a fucking lot of it. A lot. I was like one of those functioning addicts until I wasn't functioning too well anymore. But I did a lot. I didn't do it all at one fucking time, but I did a lot. I was like a afternoon to early morning. I was like like a 4 p.m. to like a 6 a.m. kind of a guy. I was like a 4 to 6. I start 4 p.m. I'm coming down around 6 a.m. But you don't come down at 6 a.m. Anybody out there, there's people listening, and this is for you too. Like, it's never too late to make that choice. But yeah, I was 4 p.m. I'd go days without sleep. And here's the thing, addiction is addiction for a reason, because you want to stop but you can't. Almost instantly after I started, I was like, all right, yeah, you kind of fucking stepped into this shit, but I don't know if this is really what you wanted. I know you wanted to dumb yourself down and just fucking enjoy life a little bit, but you don't have a problem on your hands, bro. And sure enough, it turned into a problem quickly. It went from like once on the weekend to like, every like 3 days in between, then 2 days in between, then every other day, then every day, then every fucking day, then every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month, every year. I lost track of sometimes. It was at least 3 years of heavy use. I tapped out, man. And here's the thing, those 3 years of heavy use, but I wanted to stop from the beginning. I wanted to stop from the beginning. I was too ashamed. I was too ashamed to ask for help. And here's the thing I learned about shame, is that shame is more a state of mind, man. It's not really an emotion. Shame is a state of mind. And in this state of mind, you feel embarrassed. You feel upset with yourself. You feel like you let yourself down. You let others down. You feel like you've lost your honor. That's shame. It's a state of mind where you feel all these heavy feelings, man, heavy emotions. But I was too embarrassed. I was the last person anybody would expect to become addicted to that shit. When I say that shit, I'm saying that shit, but like to drugs. Be sensitive to those that's using. Understand this? It's not just shit. I spoke to somebody before, and this person was actually a psychiatrist who was actually doing an evaluation. We'll fill you in on that in a second. And when I had told him, I was like, listen, I made the choice. I tapped out, and I started doing hard drugs. And I did coke, I did crack, I did crystal meth. He was like, don't you think you're too old for that shit? I think he might have said that shit. Or that stuff. Some other people said shit. It kind of seems like, yeah, I know it's shit. Like, we all know it's shit. We all know it's fucking bad. That's not the fucking point. Like those of you that try to help people going through addiction or try to help them or try to speak to them, you're like, don't you know you're killing your body? You fucking yeah. Don't you know you can die from doing it? Oh, fucking no shit, Sherlock. Don't you know you're hurting yourself? Why would you do such a thing? Why would you do it? Maybe we want to fucking hurt ourselves. Maybe we don't fucking care. Maybe we're in so much fucking pain that we figured this is a way out. I'm not justifying it. But having been someone who's walked that road, I get it. And prior to me having gone through addiction and having my struggle and even going through relapse, I'll talk about the relapse. Ooh, that's a story. I see it differently now. I don't call myself an addict or an ex-addict. I don't know, maybe ex-addict. I don't know if I can call myself. You call me an ex-addict. They say once an addict, always an addict. That's according to some people's philosophy. Recovery is a process, though. But everyone's recovery is self-defined. We'll talk about that as well. All right. So, point is, I tapped out. I got hooked. I got hooked bad. I was doing a lot. Every day. All night. All morning. Getting other people fucking high. Here's the thing. I still didn't fit in. Even fucked up. And amongst other users and shit, I was still the oddball, bro. I still stood out. Motherfuckers had the feeling like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this shit. That was I'm not even talking and having a conversation. It's just an energy thing. Like, I still didn't fit in. All the drinks I drank, all the bars I've gone to, all the money I spent on liquor, I still ain't meet nobody I clicked with on that level. Like, we do those things for social connection, right? And end up still not connecting with anyone because I don't know how much can you connect with someone when you're both in an altered state. What kind of a connection is that really? It might be the illusion of a connection. No, I digress. So, the other thing is, those years, I'll say about 3-4 years, I never enjoyed it. I don't lie to that. I felt the high, I felt the physical pleasure, the physical sensation. There's a reason people get addicted. If you haven't tried anything, fucking don't. And some of us have addictive personalities and character traits, so some of us are more inclined to addiction than others. So just fucking don't. If you haven't tried it yet, fucking don't. Now weed is recreational. I see so many people smoking weed that I know would have never fucking smoked weed. Or would have never, maybe don't even, I'm not going to judge everybody because people have issues that they've been dealing with and maybe they didn't want to go take medication. So I understand that. I still speak about the medicinal qualities of marijuana. But there are some people like, you know, you just smoking because you could get hold of it now. You've always wanted to try, you want to experiment, maybe you want to cut loose a little bit. But listen, man, if it's not necessary, it's not necessary. I'll say that. And it has its limits, right? So even weed, well, we're not gonna get off topic. I did the hard shit. I did a lot of it. And despite all that I did, I could never, my consciousness would just, it won't let me forget who I was. Right? So imagine you getting high every fucking day because you're addicted. And you had some fucking problems before, but now you done dug an even deeper hole. And you didn't know how you was going to deal with your problems before. Now you certainly don't know how the fuck you going to deal with your problems with this shit. And no matter how much I did, I just, my consciousness would not let me enjoy it. I'm getting high and my voice in my head is like, you know you ain't supposed to be doing this. I'm getting high and like, bro, what you doing? I'm getting high and not again. Like through the whole fucking journey. The every day, every hour, every week, every month, every year, doing something, wanting to stop, too ashamed to ask for help, not knowing how to ask for help. I was just too fucking ashamed. I got myself into this shit, so I ought to be able to get myself out, I thought. And a part of me also took it as a challenge. I believe a lot about life that they didn't teach us in the textbooks. And your pastor and your priest, chances are they ain't talking about it either. I'm a true believer. Make no mistake. People would tell me that if I had Jesus in my life, I would have never gone down the path I went down. Bullshit. My path is my path. First of all, nobody has the right to tell me what would have happened in my life if I did this or I did that. Who the fuck are you? You God? You God? Literally, I've been told that it's because I'm not in the church that I did drugs. Never mind my explanation as to the reasons. I've just explained some. Nothing to do with my belief in the Creator. I believe in God. I believed in Jesus and all that stuff. I did. I believed in connection. I believed in prayer. I believed in all of it. But I had fucking problems coping with fucking people in this world. I did. So despite my explanations, all that, I've been told the explanation is Jesus, because somehow Jesus takes away people's personal journeys, which is, it's not true, right? I don't know why people point that out when there's many Christians that are going through addiction. What do you say to them? What do you tell them they didn't believe hard enough? You didn't believe hard enough. That's why you became addicted. Stop being simple-minded, people. It's not all of you, but some of you real fucking simple-minded when it comes to understanding other people. Maybe that's your refusal to listen. Maybe you don't have the capacity to understand what someone is saying, so you choose to tell them your reasons why they went through what they went through instead of listening to what they explained to you. I don't know. I don't want to be hard on them. Yeah, so it wasn't that. I had religious guidance in my life. I had no doubts on being a part of something much bigger and all that. I just had fucking problems coping with it. And here's the thing is, a lot of times addiction has to do with self-image. It has to do with a poor self-image. A poor self-image meaning that we feel there's something wrong with us and that we have to do something to feel a certain way to get a certain result. Because maybe it's something about me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe if I change and I be like someone else, I could get different results. A poor self-image. Yes, I had that. Despite all the guidance, despite all the experiences I've had, I still had doubts. I have low self-esteem in certain regards. I just had doubts. I had to work my way through things. I had to figure things out. I had many questions. I'm not like most of you. I didn't stick my head in the sand and bury it when tough questions came around that I was uncomfortable with. I didn't just take what was given to me. I grew up, and being a grown-up, I took responsibility for my beliefs. And I started to question why I believe the things I believe. And I started to examine where they came from. Hey, it's not easy work. I did much of it alone until I met the teachers that I met in my life that put things in perspective. But I still had my unresolved issues that I didn't face. And so I became addicted. Yeah, I got hooked, man. I got hooked. Poor self-image. Not wanting to be here. Not feeling like I belonged. Tired of, not connecting, the betrayal, all that shit, man. I just tapped out. I had everything lined up for success. Went to law school, attorney. I don't know if I mentioned that. I mentioned it in other episodes, but yeah, I practiced law. After teaching, I became an attorney. Practiced that for 10 years. I had everything lined up for this physical world. I played the game. I got the good job. I got the good education. My father was a, what do you call someone who's educationarian. Fucking word. Everybody's making up words today. Trump makes up fucking words every day. No one talks about it. He was an educarian. educatarian. My father stressed the importance of education. My mother supported that, but my father was kind of overboard with that shit. Kind of beat you for getting bad grades type of shit. That was old school. When I say beat, I got spanked. I didn't get beat. I don't want to cast my father in a poor light. My family's from the islands. That's what happened. You got bad grades, means you're not studying, you got spanked. If you don't do good in school, put the belt to him, he gonna do better. I got that. It helped. Shit, I got an honor roll. I was in a National Honor Society and all that in high school. I did pretty good. It's like 3.5 GPA in college. Like, I was good. Went to law school. Passed the bar exam first shot. I'd say the lessons got to me. But I just had my unresolved issues. So I fought with that. And I was too ashamed. I had a teacher, a spiritual guide, Ross Uncle Kepper, and I'm putting this out there because the question came up. If I was a part of a spiritual circle, why didn't I ask them for help? I'm going to tell you this. It's a conversation I'm going to have with them. But I'm going to say this. In fairness, that shame, I was in a position, a respected position. Like, people looked up to me. Like, so for me to have taken such a fall, I couldn't come to terms with it myself, let alone to open myself to tell him. And he was like a father figure, like a big brother. Taught me martial arts, most of what I've known. Taught me to stand my ground and to fight. He's a man who's also has a story. He's a spiritual guide. He's known that from the time he was young as well. We crossed paths for a reason. I've crossed paths with other spiritual masters in this lifetime. And martial arts was a common theme. Martial artists are those, we're not talking about just doing it for sport and just beating people. But I'm not excluding MMA fighters either. Because a true martial artist is one of the most spiritual people you'll meet. Some of these guys that you see in MMA is mixed martial arts. It's martial arts. It's mixed. There's rules and no rules and shit like that. But to discipline yourself on that level is a spiritual thing. And when you discipline yourself on a certain level, you have experiences internally. Not doing drugs, not drinking, not smoking, training, meditating. Right? So I've met teachers in my life that have shown me what's possible. I had a teacher, like, I don't know how old he is now, but I'm talking about he was 70 years old, and the man, I would not want to fight him on my best day. 70 years old and not built like that, but strong. Not overweight, in shape, could move, and when you see him move, you wouldn't guess his age. But he was disciplined, and he showed me it was possible. So I had those figures, but I feel like there's still a part of my journey I had to see for myself. I feel a part of this because everything happens for a reason. I think a part of my life was meant for me to go through that. It was meant for me to experience addiction. I was always a teacher. I'm a teacher, I'm a guide. But after going through what I've gone through and the journey through it is giving me an even deeper insight. And it's giving me grounds to help other people. And I'm not saying that you have to go through using drugs to be able to help somebody on drugs, but anybody doing drugs, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm a peer. Like, unless you've done it, you don't really get it. And you never will get it. And we're not asking you to do drugs to try to get it. We're not like, But here's the thing. And this is no discredit to him. Like, my teacher, he's a man who's never smoked, never drank in his life. Although he has an uncanny ability to guide and help individuals, and he understood me in a way that nobody else has in my entire life. He's done readings and his insight, and I'm telling you, he's the one who gave me my name, Sekhem Ra Min Maat. That was a process as well. did the reading, got meaning. I chose the name. He wrote it. This long story, but if anybody I could ask for help, it would have been him. But a part of it in my mind, I was like, when I just couldn't disappoint him, man. How did I fall? How would I explain that? And I think being the person that he is, he would have been shocked and surprised, but he would have went into immediate assistance. I never gave him that opportunity. I kind of just vanished. I kind of disappeared to deal with it on my own. And I felt like a part of it was like, he wouldn't understand. He was too perfect. Like, and that wasn't to take away from him. I do believe he would have understood and he would have helped. But this was a journey like I took on my own, and I felt I had to. All right, so we're getting through it. Let's talk about the turning point. A number of things happened. I wanted to stop for a long time. But hold on, we gotta change the music up for this one. That one was right there. Y'all like that one though, right? It fit the mood. We're gonna stop that. All right, let's get another one in. We're gonna turn like this is the turning point. I'm gonna tell you about the journey I've taken through recovery. And oh man, I don't know, like this has been a hell of a talking session. I don't look at what I record when I put it out. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I look on camera, so I don't really look at my recordings. I want to start doing it so I can get better. I know that's a part of the process. I try to take mental notes as I'm doing it on what I can do better, which is probably interrupting my flow. But yeah, I'll probably re-listen to this one. This is a turning point, so let's do something. Okay. There's a couple of things, right? Let's talk about the turning point. A couple of things that happened. Well, I told you, I wanted to stop from the very beginning. But what got me to the point of wanting to stop? Well, I can tell you one just right off the bat. Well, I'll cue this up. I have a heart condition. I already have a heart condition. And the amount of drugs I was doing, people, I was doing a lot. There's other people that have done drugs for much longer periods of time than I have. I'm not comparing myself or nothing like that, but I put in a good hard 3-4 years, man. Good fucking like every day. Hard. Like a fucking lot. And with my heart condition, I'm surprised. I am surprised. But it's another sign of God's protection. I by all means, if someone else, I probably would have dropped dead. I have a heart condition. You know the fucking amount I was smoking every day. Not getting sleep, stressing about work. Somehow I was functioning until I got fired. I didn't fight that because my work product was slipping. I had a coworker who kind of carried me along the way. I think he was aware that something was going on, but he didn't know how to approach me. There might have been other people who were aware, but they didn't know how to approach me. How do you tell someone you think they're doing drugs? How do you tell someone, I think you're doing coke? Hey, man, you look like you smoking crack. You smoking crack? Bro, you look like you ain't sleep for days. You doing meth? How do you ask someone? Like, how do you know what I mean? I'm different. If I suspect, and it's a friend, like a true friend, I'm going to say something. If I don't really know you like that, I might just have to let you continue on your journey. I feel differently about that now. I'm speaking, obviously. I'm sharing this message. I'm not invading in people's life, but this is here for those who are considering it. I know there's a lot more people using than any of you realize. Well, there's prescription drugs that you're addicted to, Ozempic and all this other shit, the bars, ecstasy, what's the other one? Like, I don't know, like fentanyl crisis. There's a lot of that shit going, coke. Like, yo, we're all trying to escape in some kind of a way. Some of you are addicted to sugar. Still a fucking drug. I don't care. It may not be killing you in a visible way, but it will be shortly. You don't check that shit. Sugar kills people every day. And it leads to most of the diseases that kill people every day. So we all kind of escaping in some way. You know, it's not healthy. It's not natural to watch 10 hours of TV a day. Binge watch. I've done it. I'm guilty of it. I'm no hypocrite, people. That's another reason I'm sharing everything I'm sharing with you, is because when I talk about these things, you'll understand. I'm not a hypocrite. I've been there. I've earned my right to fucking talk about certain things, and I've earned my right to talk about them a certain type of way. That's what happens. It's my story. My story is my credentials. All right? Okay. So, we're getting close to our 2 hour and 40 mark. I'm still going strong, people. This is a fucking marathon, not a race. I told you I was going to do it live. You're going to get what's coming out. We'll have to revisit this story and make it smoother. Like, we'll have to do this. Figure out how we can tell the story, like, in a half hour. And this, I'm just laying it all out. Okay. So, turning point. Let's get to turning point. I queued up something for you. But do boom. Okay. Turning point. A couple of things happen. Let's get to it. Tell you about this little recovery journey of mine. If we can get some cooperation. There was several things that happened. Why we keep sorry all for the dead air, but we need this. It's a turning point. Okay. Alright, stay with us now. Okay. So when I share this aspect of the story with people, I tell them that, listen, even my choice to do drugs was illogical. It wasn't based on logic, man. There was unresolved issues deep in my subconscious that I had to face. And this challenge of getting off addiction was one that I've gained something from. It has shown me something, not just what I'm capable of, because I don't take the credit for myself. I walked a recovery path of divine guidance and protection, I'll say. What I say by divine guidance, I told you my life is different. There's a bunch of stories that I haven't shared with you yet that I'm going to start sharing. So, like, I have to do this more consistently because there's a lot to share. I think others would appreciate hearing, or will even maybe start sharing their stories. In the world of AI and fake profiles and all this shit, you could just tune into this. You understand, I'm real. This story is real. And it's going to get realer. Alright. So, I don't take credit. I said I was being guided. Now, this is not going to make sense to some of you. Some of you might question it. But this is what happened. I'm just going to tell you what it is. I'm doing my best to explain something that words can't explain. The things that happened, the things I saw, a part of it is my experience, and only I went through it, right? Only I experienced it. Only I saw it. So understand that. So I'm going to do my best to share with you the story in a way that kind of makes sense. I wanted to stop for some time, and several things happened within a period of time. I don't know which came first, but I'll tell you some of the things that has happened. I'll tell you the story that I can tell you. It happens on many layers, and we'd be here for ages trying to unravel all this shit. So I want to tell you. One, I had a health condition. I knew I was pushing it. And then one night, I had these thoughts that came to me. When I say these thoughts came to me, I wasn't thinking them. And we'll talk about this in other episodes, but you'll come to realize that not all of your thoughts are yours. Meaning that not all of the thoughts that you have in your mind and not all of the thoughts that come to your mind are coming from you. Some of them are coming from outside of you. We'll talk about that. I had thoughts that came to me. I was by myself. The thoughts that came to me, they came in the form of questions. And I said they came to me because I wasn't thinking about this stuff. I was getting high. And I was probably watching porn. Getting high and doing hard drugs and porn, those of you who don't know, it's kind of like complementary. You know? They kind of go together like cheese and crackers. You know what I'm saying? You get high on some hard drugs, you throw some porn on somewhere. I wasn't thinking about these questions, they came to me. I say they came to me because I wasn't thinking them. The first question was, Is this how you want to die? It wasn't a voice. It was a thought. I didn't hear a voice. Not this one. It was a thought. And it was a subtle thought. It was just a thought that came to me. Is this how you want to die? Fair enough, right? That's just a thought. Anyone doing drugs and with a heart condition would think that. Maybe it's the subconscious. Perhaps it was. I'm not giving any name to what this was. I'm just telling you the thoughts came to me and I wasn't thinking in that moment, but they took over. They stopped me in what I was doing and they took over. And I knew the answer to that was immediately no. I don't want to die. I don't want to die this way, because then the next question came and the next question was connected. The next question was, well, is this how you want to be remembered? And it was kind of connected. Is this how you want to die? And I'm like, no. Is this how you want to be remembered? This is like, no. But these thoughts are coming to me, right? And then the last question was, is this who you are? And I said, no. I said no. And I started to feel different. But that was just still one point. So now I'm starting to feel different. Now my thoughts are different. And there's other things starting to happen. That was one. Along the way, during this time, I met someone. I didn't meet them in person. I met someone online. Right? Because I was lonely, I'm always by myself. I was lonely. I started streaming. I see the world as streaming. And I met someone and I was watching their broadcasts and they were just talking about the challenges that other people face. And this person was speaking about it in a manner as though they've either experienced it or they know others. But this person was telling me, it just reminded me. Despite all the issues I had and my issues dealing with the world and making sense of things and accepting who I was, accepting that I was different, accepted that perhaps I was chosen to walk a different path in life. Despite all my troubles, I just realized that, compared to others, what could I complain of? That I kind of created some of my issues. Not just by my choice to do drugs, but I also created them by my choice not to speak to people, not to seek the right counsel. not to address the issues. I accept that. And I realize that there are other people in situations that maybe they haven't created. And looking at the world, you see there's so much going on. It just put things in perspective for me. We'll call that person Owens. Thank you, Owens. Owens helped remind me that perhaps I could help others. Perhaps my reason of being here, being a teacher from the time I was young, despite my lack of connection with people, I'm complex. I can connect. I can relate. It's just maybe I've met the wrong friends. Maybe I befriended the wrong people. Maybe I trusted the wrong people. But maybe I was supposed to gain from all of that. But that maybe I could help others in ways that I may not even fully know yet. But this person, they saw something in me, even at my lowest point. And they were a reminder. That was another thing. Then, let me share something with you. I'm going to turn this up for a second. I'm going to give you some music because I do have a little, I have a piece I got to show you for this. We got to grab it. Give you some volume real quick. Rock to that. No cuts, no edits. Alright, so I hope you're all hanging in there. We're like basically the same. Well, the story played out differently than the first time I recorded, but we're at damn near 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're a little further along than the first time I did this. Alright, so here's one of the other things that happened, right? All around the same time, it was another night. I'm standing and, alright, so here's the thing, right? I got this tattoo. I got this tattoo on my chest. I got it a while ago, man. Probably, I'll say around 2008. 2008. The tattoo was, it was freehand drawn. And it says MMI. I got it on my chest. Now, there's an M, period I, period. And it was done in the style of calligraphy. And let's show that to you. Okay. So I have this tattoo on my chest. It says MMI. Let's get you the visual. Come back over here so you can see me. Alright. Get you the visual. This is the visual, right? Okay, boom. It's a tattoo on my chest. MMI. And like I said, this is my story. Like, it's my experience I've lived through. I'm sharing with you and trying to do so in a way where you can understand. Things just started happening. There's things happening on many layers and levels. So I'm standing in front of a mirror in the bathroom, and this is all while I'm just deciding and talking to myself and saying I'm going to get clean, and we're starting to do something different. I got fired from work. So I took that as an opportunity, right, to make the move I needed to. I didn't know what I was going to do. But all this is leading up to the travel, the journey. So this tattoo I've had since 2008. Now this addiction thing I'm talking about, this happened during COVID. Let's put things in context. This happened during COVID. And one day I'm standing in the mirror and the thought and the word just came to me, Imam. When I said the thought came to me, because again, I wasn't thinking about this, right? But it came to me, Imam. And as I stood there looking at the tattoo in the mirror, for the first time since I ever had the tattoo, I looked at the mirror image. I looked at it carefully. This is what you see, right? This is how I got it. See the M, the stars, there's a period, the squiggly lines in between the M. You see how the structure of the M is, right? It's calligraphy. M star, I star. Me, myself, and I. That's what it meant. Me, myself, and I. I got that to remind myself that I always end up by myself. And that's not just in relationships. I wasn't a sour, I'm not a stalker type dude, none of that shit. Relationships, I'm the type that I don't talk to exes. I gotten back with an ex. That was an exception. But other than that, I cut people off and moved on because of the hurt. And sometimes I push people away. But me, myself, and I is because even when I stepped out there and I put my life on the line for other people, I turned around and there was nobody standing behind me. And it reminded me that in life, the decisions I make, it's me, myself, and I that's going to have to answer for them. Nobody else. Nobody's going to be there to save me, so to speak. Nobody's going to be there to take away the consequences of my own actions. So me, myself, and I, for me, was just a reminder, bro, you be able to live by the words you speak and the actions you do. You're up for judgment. In the face of judgment, whenever you leave here, if you're being judged, whether it's me, myself, and I, I'm responsible for it. So I take onus on my life. I'm responsible for the decisions I make, the choices I make, how I respond to things, what I choose to do. Me, myself, and I. So I told you, for the first time, this word Imam came to me. I'm looking at the tattoo. I'm looking at myself. And then this is what I start to see. I see the mirror image of the tattoo. I told you the word Imam came to my mind. I wasn't making that up. I'm not Muslim. I respect Islam. I told you that before. I've seen what it has done for people in their life. I've seen the power of true faith, whatever religion it may be. I talk a lot about Christianity too, but I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not one to say that religion is not good for anything, so you'll never hear me say that. But you will hear me criticize modern day religion. Because, well, that's another topic. We'll get into colonialism another day. But the word Imam came to me. I'm not Muslim, man. I don't read the Quran. I wasn't thinking about anything Muslim. The word came to me, and when the word came to me, I looked at my chest, and for the first time, you'll see in a second. I didn't see this. All right. I didn't see this. I saw that. And if you look, say what you want. I see Imam. I see Imam. in the mirror image, when I look at it, I see Imam. I see an I see an M. And in between those two M's, those little swirly lines, that's an A. It's an A to me. Me an A. And there's M. The word came to me, I looked at my chest and I see this. Now, my understanding of Imam, first of all, I'm not claiming to be an Imam, but I will say this, I believe I was an Imam in another lifetime. I stand on that. I've moved in such a way in different manners, not to call myself that, but to look back at my life and to say, well, that kind of fits the description. I never put myself above others. I really just strive to help other people. Don't ask me why. I feel most in place as though I belong when I help others. I don't know everything. I'm not a know-it-all. We all can use some help. So we're not all above help. We're all students in life. But at the same token, I know that's my calling. I knew it from the time I was young. I'm a teacher. I wasn't just meant to teach textbooks and arithmetic and writing and geometry, man. So they kind of teach you about how you are a part of something bigger. I don't know all the answers to that either, but like I said, I'm here. I'm walking proof. So listen, the word Imam came to me, so now, every time, we're talking about every day, every morning, anytime I look in the mirror, I don't have my shirt on, I see Imam. I see a reminder. So Imam is someone who's chosen by the people, who's a leader of the people, who's willing to sacrifice himself for the people, who strives to be there for the people, a teacher, a guide, someone to lean on, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not Muslim or anything like that, so all respect to those who walk that path. So I'm not claiming your terminology, but I stand on what I said. I feel that in my spirit. I was an Imam in another lifetime, and in this lifetime, I'm here to live a similar path. So I know that that's another part of the recovery thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I was called from the time I was young. I realized that during that time as well, that there's so many of us that are in darkness, that have become comfortable in darkness. And call darkness what you may, whether it's feelings of doubt, whether it's feelings of isolation, whether it's anger, whether it's addiction. Darkness comes in different forms, man. We're not just talking about addiction, man. We're talking about this feeling of being incomplete. We're talking about this feeling of not belonging. We're talking about a darkness that's like shadows, man, kind of blocking your light. You kind of got this feeling that you're not living life to the fullest, and there's something more. So I know I'm here for a reason. I was reminded for that. And I realized that there's so many of us that are in that darkness that it's starting to affect other people. Because this is the thing, no matter what you believe, we're all interconnected. And when, let's say, me, my journey and my absence, there were times I was supposed to be there for people that I was supposed to meet. And I wasn't. Because I had become so indulged in my own problems, man. I became so indulged in my own darkness, in my own shadows, that I unplugged. I blocked everything else out. I jumped into the void, and I sank to the bottom. And I became comfortable in that space, though I did not want to dwell there much longer. I became comfortable. And what I realized was that even in that moment, the light is always with you. It's as simple as making a choice. It's as simple as making a decision. But the choice starts in your mind. That's where it started, right? So, that was the turning point. That was the moment where I knew it was time. I knew it was time. All right, so I'm going to stop the story there. We're at our 2 hour and 50-minute mark. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to stop the story because, one, like I said, I'm kind of going on E right now. But I feel that's a good turning point because I don't want to rush through the second part. And if I keep going right now, like, my fire gonna die out. Because now I gotta tell you about the recovery journey. I gotta tell you, you've seen my childhood. Let me just close with some images. Let me embarrass myself a little bit. Yeah. Let me show you who I was. Let me show you some of the childhood images. Because sometimes, as a grown man, a grown black man, too, some of you may not believe I was once a child, too. I couldn't wait for the Toys R Us catalog to come out, too. I watched the cartoons Saturday morning, too. None of that stuff happens anymore. There's no Saturday morning cartoons. Last time I checked, when I was growing up, like older, it was all kind of nonsense. Aliens, squishy, squirrely looking characters. Like, what the? I was a child. So here, let me show you. I'm gonna show you some childhood pictures. All right, here we go. We're going to start to close out. I'm going to tell you the story, but I'm going to tell you where the second part is going. The second part I'm going to give to you tomorrow. Like, we ain't doing no week delay on this. This is a story. We got to put out the second part. We done spent 2 hours and 51 minutes. I think we should push it and see if we could go for a nice solid 3 hours, right? Because if I could just do this by myself talking for 3 hours, when I get someone on here to have some conversations, not to say that conversations got to go 3 hours, but I could do this, man. I be kind of all over the place because I was trying to figure out how to tell this story, and it's bits and pieces. We're gonna sew it together, but I think if you've been following this off and on, you'll get it. Maybe you'll appreciate some of the theatrics. All right, so like I said, I was a child. From the time I was young, I knew I was different. Like, I just saw the world different. I didn't realize how different I was. When I say different, I'm talking about my mindset. And just my openness to really seeing things differently, asking questions. I'm not the only one. There's others of you out there like that. And I'm speaking up on your behalf. Like, time to nut up. Like, let yourself be known. I'm stepping out. I'm here with you. Like, we good. God got us. Time to show y'all the full dynamics. And yeah, I'll say the full dynamics of God. None of y'all got a monopoly on God, so can't nobody tell me I ain't speaking on God when I speak on God. Oh, so first of all, we're going to hit you with the childhood thing, but I wanted to show you this too. I'm gonna block the name off. Okay, you can't really see this. Oh, you can. Hold on, I need to block this, so I don't want to do some advertising for these people. And nobody paid me for advertisements yet, so we're not doing that. Okay. All right. Okay. You see the name on that? Like 2 weeks ago, I ordered something online. It's a patch, an iron-on patch. They come from a company, one of these companies that like to, send you a card and this is a coupon too, but it says packaged with care by who? By Imam. Yo, in all my life, I'm 43. In all my life, I have never met someone named Imam. I met an Iman with an N, I-M-A-N, I also met an Iman with an E-M-A-N. I never met an Imam. Like Imam. Like the teacher guide Imam. What's the odds? Like I said, coincidence. But this is my life, people. It really is. And I know so many of you have similar stories. Maybe you've marginalized them. Maybe you've brushed them off and you thought they were just randomness. But I'm telling you that in the context of a bigger story. I'm constantly reminded by this. It's part of my path. It's something that I have to do. It's why I'm here. It's something I'm going to be true to. And this is me embracing who I am. So like I said, I really don't want to do podcasts and be on the video stuff and all that. I'm growing into it. I'm getting used to it. I'm doing it because it's a part of what I know I need to do. I've stopped running. I ran. That was another reason I did drugs. Failure to accept who I was. I knew I was different. I knew I moved with a different energy, a different vibe. I knew that perhaps maybe I was called to like really be that guy, and I ran from it. It's, honorable, but not rewarding too much. Depends on how you look at it. But I realized too, it's not done for a reward. Just want to fucking help people. That's just what's written in my heart. There are other people who know different aspects. I've shared different parts of the story with, and like I said, I've been tested by the universe. I've been tested by others. I stand on my claims of who I am and what I'm about. This is a message of upliftment. Like I said, I was a child at one point. The other reason too, I gotta joke around with you guys is just to let you know I joke too. Sometimes when you talk spiritual things and you talk about life and all that, everybody thinks that everything's always so serious. I don't want to be the guy that when I come around, everybody's like, yo, stop talking about that. Yo, stop talking about that. That's the religious dude. That's the spiritual dude. I'm not that thing, bro. Spirit is life. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy who's lived through shit. I've done shit. I'm sharing all of that with you. I was a child once upon a time too. At the same token, my life has kind of been maybe different than what some of you experienced. Or perhaps I was aware of what you may not have been aware of that was also happening in your own life. Maybe that's a part of it. So let's I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna foreshadow a little bit about the second part. Like I said, I'm gonna drop that tomorrow. I think we're gonna stretch this to a nice three hours. That'll be a new record for me. At least we got a little further than the first time. Now we just got the recovery part of the story. I done told you about me being young. This is my first communion picture. That was me. I told you about me being young. It was about that age I knew I was going to be a teacher. That was about first grade. That's my first communion. I kind of knew I was going to be a teacher at that time, man. And sometimes people tell me I need to smile more. It's like, for one, I got dental work I need to get done. That's the result of drugs. I ain't ashamed of saying that. I do smile, though, to the point where I got, like, smile marks. Same, you can see in that picture, the way I smile like that, even through all the fucked up shit I've gone through in life. I struggle with depression. I didn't say that out in straight up words, but that was another thing that led to me doing drugs. The loneliness, the isolation. I struggled and I got depressed. Other things, my inability to accept certain aspects of life and who I was and all that, I chose unwisely, but it took me along a journey that I don't have regrets of. I'm not telling anybody to do it, but I don't have no regrets. I'll tell my story. I don't have that shame no more. I'm not in that state of mind. Whoever wants to judge can judge. You can't hold my story against me, motherfucker. It's my story. I'm fucking telling the whole world. What you gonna tell? Type shit. I'll show you this. Y'all get a laugh out of that one. Just to show you, I went through this shit too. Some of you getting made fun of. Now, this was about fourth grade. So first of all, this is fourth grade. This is school pictures, and this my mom was still dressing me at that point. No, man, my mom was good. I think I started dressing myself after that. But my mom put me in a nice button down, the sweater and the pants and these glasses. Now let's talk about these glasses. These were not my frames. My family's from the islands, the Caribbean. This is my father. My father is always a very what's the word? Frugal. Yeah, frugal man. I think frugal means like when you make no waste, right? You make sure you use things and use it twice. These are my father's frames. I'm one of them kids who had to wear his father's glasses frames. And mind you, the picture probably don't look as bad as how big they were on my face. Well, I went through that when I was a kid. I got made fun of. That's me, 6th grade. Some of you like, damn, what happened? I was happy. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I was a happy kid. But deep down inside, there was something stirring. This was first dog I had. This is a good turning point. I'm going to tell you so we can leave on this. First dog I had, his name was Chucky. Loved him. Second dog I had, his name is Hercules. I love dogs. Now, the second part of the story involves another dog. King. Boo Boo, come. I gotta introduce you guys to King now. Some of you heard him in the previous episode. King, come. Come, Boo Boo. He was kind of sleeping. He's felt neglected because we've been recording we had 3 hours. Boom, come. Come, Boo Boo. All right, folks. This is okay, King. No, Boo Boo. This is King. This is my little booby loop. This is my dog. King is a part of the story. He's a Yorkie. This is my ace right here, bro. Like, this is my first small dog. I love him. He's a part of the story. I'll give you the foreshadowing, right? So y'all can tune into the next episode. So, I told you my childhood, kind of hard to explain, but you kind of get the gist of it, right? Maybe not unlike some of you. Sure you can relate. Some of you might be like, yo, this motherfucker is dumb. Teach his own. Sometimes you gotta play the fool and be a fool. Oh, that's really fucking, who says that? Sometimes you gotta be the fool. King is a part of the story, so he's a part of the recovery story. I'm gonna tell you how he comes into play. My first small dog, I love him. Alright, so next time is going to be the recovery. I kind of told you, like, the childhood. I told you the turning point, what kind of led me to make this decision. So now I'm going to tell you what I end up doing. And that's going to be in the second part. So I'm going to tell you this. I took an unconventional path to recovery. I did not go the normal way. I would not suggest others do what I did. But I did it. Because I'm different. And on a level, I was being guided, right? I'm trying to tell you, it was happening on different levels. What I didn't, well, I can save that. That's going to be a good starting point. I'm going to save that. So when we come back next time, I'm going to talk about the moment, I guess I decided, to take this journey. So I'll give you the foreshadowing. I'll give you some clues. King is hungry right now because actually he ate all his food. He laid out. I decided to go on the road. I took my recovery in my own hands. I wouldn't encourage people to do that. I did it because there was something happening. There was something happening in my life that I had to surrender to. There was something divine in nature that, man, I can't put in words. The little that I have described to you does not describe everything that was happening at the moment or at the time. But it describes it describes a fraction. So the next part of the story is going to involve the journey of recovery, which includes sleeping on the streets, out of state, with King, not having a dollar in my pocket, being homeless for like close to a year, lived in shelters, out of state, everything out of state. Um, I got stories, interesting, but it's all on part of this recovery, and it's going to bring us to where we're at now and why I'm doing all of this. We'll get there. I've already spoke about it in the first episode. Different things we're going to talk about. There's so much. I guess I'm going to have to start recording every day. Oh, fuck. Never mind. No, fuck it. This is the last episode. All right, I'm going to tell my story and we'll be done. No. Just joking. No, so next episode, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the recovery journey. And we'll talk about where we're at now. We'll talk about where we're at and where we're doing and where we're going with all of this. So, not for nothing. I ain't gonna lie. Like, this has been 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 46 seconds at this point. I haven't. Yeah, we're not gonna repeat those things, but I'm burnt. Let's stop this here. Yo, this is Solar Guidance. Take your time watching this episode, as I'm sure you have if you've gotten to this point. If you've gotten to this point, fucking kudos to you. I don't expect many people to watch this thing straight through, or maybe even watch the whole thing at all. But it's out there. It got recorded. One take, one drop. We'll work on doing a half-hour version of the story, but I'm going to have to stand up for that one. That one is going to be like a sermon. Yeah, that one's going to have to be on a sermon. In order to get through all of this and give the story some kind of justice, like I said, I had to describe my childhood. I had to kind of give you a picture of who I am, so you understand that even those of us with some level of enlightenment can still fall to the choices we make. The brighter your light shines, the darker the shadow you cast. The more you know, the more you're held responsible for what you know, and the more you know is you can't unknow. So there's, everybody has their burden that they carry. That's part of the message. So those of you that's gone through it, hang in there. I'm sharing my story with you for reasons and purposes, and I'm telling you, those of you that's fighting addiction, or you know someone who's fighting addiction, tag them in the video, share it with them. They don't have to do it on their own. I'm going to be talking on Twitch and all that, but you see, like, I don't just talk about addiction. I don't just talk about God and talk about life. But I'm going to be talking about all those things. So, like I said, Solar Guidance is about the journey of the soul. And you don't have a soul, you are a soul. Right? So, yeah, until next time, Solar Guidance.